Welcome back to Cone Glow.
The place for all of the glowiest things, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Glow your cones.
Yeah, get your glowy things ready because it's Bonnaroo. That's actually, just quick side note, that's the origin of Cone Glow.
It is. Yeah,
Yes,
I think
it does come from Bonnaroo. Yes.
This is,
was born
we would
from
be
Rome.
remiss to not discuss that, but I think,
check out bonus footage for that.
Yeah, exactly. We need to get that into some bonus footage somewhere.
Yeah, but we
B-roll. Somebody get some B-roll in here.
Yeah. Check that B-roll.
Anyway, speaking of B-rolls, this is the Bonnaroo lineup discussion. We've done a sort of a camping general pro tips, but I think now we're going to get into the sort of
actual music.
Yeah, the music.
Yeah, we're going to...
It is a music festival, huh?
Yeah, so some people are here for the music, so we figured we would cater to those.
Yeah, they don't just go to camp, which is weird.
All right, guys. So
and the way we're going to do this, just quick housekeeping, just going to go day by day. Might take a quick aside to just talk about general late night stuff, but we're just going to go day by day, artists that we're going to go see. So we'll start it off.
Also, quickly, we want to say we're not any kind of like actual experts on this. This is just whatever music we happen to know or we've looked into.
Yeah, you can pick up on the fact that we aren't experts by now.
But I mean, there's going to be people that have completely different opinions of this lineup and whatever.
We're a bunch of
we don't know. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know. Well, but so
we like music.
The big
but
amendment is that while we listen to the lineup and we try to, I think, expand our taste. I mean, we're obviously of a certain opinion. So some of the stuff you're going to be like, I cannot believe they didn't talk about so and so. Like they're blind, and we are. You're correct. So please, no, but for real though, like please bring that up in the comments and like let people know, or like let us know on Facebook or wherever it is that you're seeing this. And because I mean, you're definitely right. We are dumb of a lot of this stuff. So
it's hard to look into all these music. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So starting out Thursday. What do we got?
So now this is a pattern you'll see with my particular artists, but I tend to not go to shows during the day. It's just a thing that it's very hard for me to get out in the sun and be where I want to be at night. So that's just a quick side note that a lot of mine start at like 6 or 7. But I mean, the first thing that I see on Thursday that I wanted to check out was that Grand Ole Opry thing. I mean, I don't know. Is that just like an actual Grand Ole Opry, or is that what we're dealing with? That? Or is that a band called that? Or
no, it's the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that then.
Yeah.
And I believe that starts at 6:30 on Thursday, so that's where I'm kicking it off at.
Mm-hmm. Followed by, also in the middle of that is All Them Witches. So we'll probably be
that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, our first musical conflict comes right out of the gate. Because All Them Witches starts 7:30 to 8:30 at Grand Ole Opry. Starts at 6:30 but goes to 8:30, so you have to miss the last half of that.
All Them Witches is a pretty. I'm pretty pumped to see those guys. That's for people who don't know. It's sort of I think it's 4 guys. They're all from Nashville. It's sort of like a psych rock, sort of psychedelia, stoner rock sort of thing. I know that's sort of a bunch of adjectives, but it's good. They've been around a couple of years now. And sort of doing this part of this, not exactly like rock revivalism, because, as we all know, electronica has, like indie pop, there's, they're part of this sort of thing where it's still, I think they're all just straight guitars. And
they're like real rock.
Which is cool. Like it's definitely always good to see stuff like that around and being good and persisting, because they played Bonnaroo at least one other time, maybe twice. So that'll be a cool show. And they're at they are at this tent, which is, I think that the only other time, or the times they played in the past, they've been at the little beer tents and stuff. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of my favorite Bonnaroo things is, and you guys will have to forgive us. We have a tendency to reminisce about things like this, but
that's the whole point.
Fun.
Right.
But how you just see bands grow through Bonnaroo. Like we have so much experience with this particular festival that we could tell you, oh, I remember when these guys were playing out in the campsite. Like I think Vampire Weekend actually did that. It's one of their first times they came. They brought their stuff with them and they played at their campsite. And so, and because like they were on stage one time and they were talking about it and they were like, yeah, we counted that as like, we personally count that as a Bonnaroo performance for us. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of really cool. That's another reason I like that.
That is cool.
So yeah, all them witches, man, they've hit the big time.
Yeah, seemingly. I mean, for what they can, they're part of this. Like, I mean, Nashville's got its whole thing going on.
Yeah, and they do try to include them. Yeah, try to include some local artists, especially on Thursday,
which I'm pumped for. Like, I think that I mean, it's not one of my top 10, but it's probably one of my top 5, maybe not, but it's really high up there. So I'm pretty pumped that that's like Thursday right off the bat.
Yeah, and another quick thing, just real quick. We are limiting this, I believe, to what we think we are going to be able to see and what we have the capacity to see.
Oh, yeah.
So there are going to only be a handful of bands that we mention. If we don't mention one that you like, or like I said, like what Cody had said before, please let us know. But again, this is more just of like what we are going to be doing.
Yeah.
And so
no, I'm just gonna say, please give us recommendations, because like that would be cool. Like if we miss out something and you're like, oh, it sounds like you guys would like XYZ, like please, like I mean, we might. You never know.
Right.
Yeah. And so for Thursday, like I don't really have a whole lot after those. But
the Comet is coming. I'm excited for that.
Comet is coming, and Sun Squabby, so those are both going to be cool. Saba should also be pretty good.
See, I don't know these, but if Code still is telling us to check them out, then we'll go check them out. Well,
it's different. So, like, I don't know enough. Like, the Comet is coming. I think we listened to some on our drive. I mean,
I've been listening to that in the last couple of days, too.
I like it. It's jazzy.
Really good. It's like this weird sort of, like, fast drum, sort of apocalyptic feeling, electro jazz. I don't really know what to call it. It's not something I'm too familiar enough with to really discuss, but that'll be really cool. And then Sun Squabby, I don't really know much about it. I remember listening to some songs and it seemed like jammy and cool, so I'll just probably go to that. Like, it seemed kind of trippy, psychedelic, sort of maybe like who's that guy who Spongle? That's kind of the vibes that I got, or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And Saba is like this really young rapper who he's like all about the lyrics, and it's very sort of open-hearted and sort of new age, like being honest about how you feel, and you know, and not so much about like image and stuff. So he's like kind of really kind of a very conscious, sort of nice, very new. I think he's very young, and so that should be cool.
And then Space Jesus. I mean, I don't know specifically anything that comes to mind, but anytime I ever hear people talk about Space Jesus, they're like, "Oh man, like I had such a good time, such a fun time."
People seem to love. I also don't know anything.
Yeah, and so I believe
all it says in the bio is 3 artists in one set. Get ready for some bass.
Space Boss.
It's all about that bass.
So I guess get ready for that bass.
And I think it's just important to talk about for a second. You'll hear us mention that something is a good show, or we think it will be a good show. And it's important for us to pinpoint exactly like what we're talking about there, because it's more than just the music. Like sometimes it's a party atmosphere, you know, sometimes any number of factors goes into, you know, dubbing something a good show. So I just want to, because we have a bad tendency of just saying that sometimes. So
right. Yeah.
Just want to talk about
it's more than just the music. It's the whole performance, the graphics, the crowd participation, the everything.
The fact that it's on which stage and makes it going to suck even worse. Like, will someone please fix that stage, for God's sakes?
And sometimes there's like real interactive things, you know, like they'll have actual, you know, balloons or whatever kind of weird shit that they prop kind of stuff that's out in the crowd.
A good show is the Flaming Lips. Like,
Oh,
those
yeah,
guys
that's
put
a good
on
damn
a
show.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have to know any of the music or care. It's
Yeah.
just a good show.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
It's just a
You
good
can
time.
like the music, of course, because it's good, but that's not the point. Like, it can be something completely different than that.
Right, which is great for this type of thing that we're talking about now, where we don't know specifically a lot of this music.
Mhm.
But, if someone says, hey, it's going to be a good show, you should check it out. Like, that's
Yeah.
all the more reason to go see it, which is what, like, Space Jesus is to me, is people always say, like, oh, that's just a good time, like, go. And so I don't really know what the music sounds like, but I probably will check that, at least go by
But yeah,
and check that out.
especially if a couple people tell you something like that, like, go check it out. Why not? See what it's about.
Absolutely.
If it's not for you, walk away. Find something else.
Walk away. Just walk away. Okay?
Walk away.
So we've got Calliope going.
Yeah,
and
that's new,
DJ
right?
sets
Or I
right
guess
away.
DJ start that last
Thursday. That's new. I think.
Well, they took Calliope. They had Calliope last year, right?
No,
Yeah,
but on
they have it
Thursday,
on
did they have
Thursday.
it?
I don't know if it was on Thursday.
Well,
Either
who
way.
knows?
Either way, it is this year. So, yeah, if you're down for staying up till sunrise on the very first day.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Calliope is, it is just a constant party. Like, and it's just always, there's always someone there. There's always playing. Like, I don't know if there's always someone, but like after 3 o'clock, there's
well, from
always
3:15
It's
to
all
6,
night party.
there is.
Yeah, and it's like that every day for the next couple of days. I mean, I can't remember what time it starts, but yeah, Calliope is essentially a stage that is constant, like, dance party, like live DJ sets, and it's usually smaller acts, surprise acts. Lots of crazy stuff happens, like big.
The domes dropped. But what he was saying was there's like a big light up bug, I think, that they do sometimes. And I mean, just big stages. And
well, yeah, they always have that big car. That is, I mean, that's it. That's what it is, right? It's always there. That's always part of it.
Yeah. And they have surprise, like Skrillex drop by there one time.
Yeah. He played until like after sunrise one year.
Yeah, so if you're up, dude, check out Calliope. It's always fun, always a good time. And if you feel like raging, then that's your place.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving on to Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. Also, can we note though that we're pretty sure that this is the latest Thursday is gone ever, right? Like,
yeah, I think so.
Like on a lot of levels. Like, I think even people playing until 3 a.m. was later than most past years. So that's very cool that the festival's like kind of growing to the point where even Thursday is now
a big day. Yeah. It used to be that people were getting there on Thursday night or whatever. And it was like, oh, you kind of like go wander around for a second and then you go back to your camp. But now it's like a full part of the thing. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This is a good little way we should go through this. And now I'm glad I've caught it. For every day, let's give it a general character. Like, how do you feel? Like, what's the vibe for a general?
Where does it land on the glow scale?
What's the general glow for a Friday? For me, the glow of a Thursday is, or it used to be at the very least, like kind of the burgeoning new artist that like people like Bonnaroo speculated might be hot soon. You have a lot of very cool Thursday acts over the years, stuff like Alt J and stuff like that. Yeah, Sleigh Bells and these bands that are
Passion Pit.
Yeah, these bands that play on Thursday that later grow to be big. That's definitely their MO with Thursdays, and I think that it's always exciting to see who they put on for those days because that's kind of like their like young and hot sort of list, I think, in general. I mean, not strictly, but
and more local bands.
Yeah,
like
so I'm pretty pumped. I'm always very pumped for Thursday. My glow for Thursday is like I got a 120 watt light bulb in a lamp that's too small for it. Like it's in danger of catching the shade on fire, but it's real good.
Yeah.
Mine's like pretty low, I think. I would give it like like light coming in through these blinds or something.
Through slided blinds.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I just don't know that much about it, and it's always I mean, I think it'll be fun. Of course I'm excited, but I can't claim that I know any of those. The thing that I'm probably most excited about would be that Common is coming or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited, but
I'm gonna
fairly
go with
low.
Jack-o'-lantern. It's not like super bright, but like you can definitely see it in the dark. It's definitely going to make a mark. There's a couple of things I definitely want to see. but in general, not super bright. Just dipping my toes into the water. I'm gonna go jack
Right,
it below.
All right, so let's get into Friday.
Friday.
So
Up first is
Sunny Trails Yoga. Let's get lit.
Yeah, I probably will go to that.
Johnny
I probably will too.
Sunny Trails Yoga, 8:45. Be there at B Square.
Yeah, well, the other thing here is that
or 10 a.m. also.
Or 10. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I'll actually. I did last year though. I did. So
I'm definitely going to go to at least a couple of yoga.
So yeah, guys, go get your yoga on, get yourself right for the day. I know it sounds like if you're not somebody who usually does that, it sounds maybe silly, but honestly, you're about to endure a brutal marathon of heat and standing on your legs and jumping around at shows.
And
so,
using muscles that you don't use a lot. Yeah, you need that stretch. Yeah,
it's really incredible. Like I am not the person, like I'm always out late. I mean, always, and I've made it to multiple yogas even after listening to a couple hours and then just sleeping afterwards. It'll
make you feel better for sure.
Like I feel weird that I'm hyping yoga so much right now, but it does make you feel
for real.
Really
It'll get your mind in a positive spot too. So, anyways, as far as music, I think the first thing I can see that I actually know that I'm going to go to is, I guess, the Catfish and the Bottlemen.
Oh, you're going to go see the Catfishers, huh?
It's 4:15, which is
pretty late.
That's pushing my. I don't like to get.
That's
out
early
that
for
early.
Jared, but
I do not like to get out that early because that's the hottest part of the day. 4 to 5, like 4 to 6. I ain't trying to get out in that.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to the sun crazies, guys. I get in the sun and I start losing my mind. It's not a good place to be. So yeah, I mean, I don't care about them. I don't really know anything about them. What are they, like bluegrass or something?
I don't really know that much about them.
Who are you asking about? Oh no, they're
like
radio.
Yeah, they're like on the radio. They have a radio.
I don't know. They're the sort of like the alt rock of today. You know, like they're not heavy. They're like indie alt sort of pop rock stuff. Like I think there's no electronica element. I believe it's all, you know, I don't know what the word to use. Guitars and bass, I guess, whatever you want to call that. I mean, they're catchy. Like I don't think they're. I haven't really gotten super into them. I know several songs, but it's not something that has just hit me as being particularly incredible. But I could just be mistaken because it could be a case of something like how I used to feel about Foster the People or something, where they came across as this radio friendly pop whatever, and then in fact they're incredible. So maybe Catfish and the Bottlemen are truly incredible, but I don't know.
Like a friend of mine. Every once in a while, the little things make me smile as if one of our long shots paid off.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the first thing I even recognize.
And I did give a listen to AJR, and it sounds very similar to what you were saying, Cody. It's like this alt rock.
That one's more poppy though.
Yeah,
because AJR is very poppy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know AJR.
Along the lines of what is that? Oh man, it's like 19 something. Band.
Oh, the 1975.
Yeah, or something like that.
But they're poppier still than that.
Well,
they're like almost into
like
Death from Above. Death from Above is what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually Las Cafeteras should be cool. It's kind of like a vaguely sort of Go-Go Bordello-esque mashup, but of the bio says uniquely Angelino mishmash of punk, hip hop, beat music, cumbia, and rock. So it's this sort of Latino Afro beat Americana. It's really hard to describe. There's lots of like kind of stuff that sounds vaguely like Caribbean or something too. Mm-hmm. Pretty high energy. I really don't know. I haven't watched like much live performances. Their recorded stuff is pretty different, but I think that'll be fun. I mean, again, it is really early, so I don't know if I'll actually make it out to that for the same reasons as Jared, but it is still is probably going to be a cool show, and I would like to sit around for that. The Crooked Colors as well, which is a little bit after that, and pretty much the same time as Catfish and the Bottlemen, should be cool. That they remind me a lot of something like who is that? Glass Animals. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Then I'll check that out.
No, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
And here's one for people that might. I mean, I'm sorry if you're into them. The Avett Brothers. I just can't these guys.
What's funny is I like for a little bit of time actually really got into them. Like I really liked one of their albums and I was like super into it. But then I like kind of fell back out of them. But so now it's this weird thing where I have a few songs by them that I really love, but then like as a whole I could kind of care less. So yeah, it's like it'll be fine. It'll be
And
whatever. They're like what they are. They do good at what type of music that is, but it's just like if you're not into that, like it can be kind of
I
boring.
got 2 words for you. Moving on.
Same time zone.
But they're good. I mean, they're good.
They're
they
extremely
have
talented.
some good songs. They have some good songs.
And it's fun. To me, the Avett Brothers is, whatever. I don't have anything more to add. I think I feel exactly the same way you guys do. Anushka Shankar, have either of you guys listened to her? Do you know that?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's sort
I think
of,
she's cool.
What does she play? Wow, why can't I remember? Does she play like the harp or what is it she
Like
plays?
a sitar or
Or a
something.
sitar or something? I don't know. It's not a harp. I can't believe I'm spacing right now.
Yeah, she plays a sitar.
I listened to a couple of her album, like a couple of her live shows, and it's entrancing. It is pretty incredible. It's very. I don't even know how to begin to use words to describe it because I don't know the genre or whatever you would call it. Yeah, but it's like it's definitely seems to me not like a pop take on it. Like it doesn't seem like I'm taking this classical music and putting like a pop twist on it. It definitely seems rested in the fundamentals and in the classic style. I don't know. It was like
what's coming to mind when you are saying this is, and I've never heard it, so I'm just asking you. Is like George Harrison and the Beatles, like Within You, Without You type stuff, where he has his sitar stuff.
Yeah, except she's actually Indian though.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, Anushka Shankar.
But yeah, I mean, it's like.
But it's like I don't think she sings, but I could be wrong about that.
I think she does sometimes.
But it's very ethereal. It's very, I remember very virtuoso. Like she's obviously very good.
And she's the daughter of Ravi Shankar, which, if anyone knows, I mean, if people know that he was like a professional sitarist too. Yeah, I'm reading this right now, but like that name sounds familiar. Even to
it's one of those things.
It's not like I don't really know this stuff, but yeah, she's cool though.
That really sits well with me.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say like I'm like. I don't know. Actually, I think I'm more excited about that than I thought. It's definitely not like I'm not like going to go party. It's definitely a show where I'm going to sit in the crowd and just probably close my eyes and just listen because it's that sort of thing where you just want to. It's all about the music. There's not about the attitude because like it's just all about how good it is and how kind of again hypnotic and it seemed very well orchestrated. So yeah, I'm actually pretty pumped about that show.
Yeah, that should be cool.
Will be my first. Like definite. I mean, I may miss the other ones, but that one's an easy one. Sun's going down. You just sit in the crowd for a while. Like that'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's a nice time. Yeah, it's beautiful at that time. It's finally getting cooler. Yeah, that should be really cool. Yeah. So then,
this is where it really starts ramping up.
Is where it starts pissing me off. Grizz directly conflicts with Courtney Barnett. So
which conflicts with Gojira? Is nobody else excited about Gojira?
No, now I'm not going to see Gojira at all.
Oh, I
can't.
I might sacrifice Courtney Barnett and do like half of Grizz, or do like most of Grizz, and then switch over to Gojira.
Oh, really? I think I might do it the other way.
Some really. Well, so here's my issue here is because I need to be at Gambino when it starts, so that's 8:45.
Oh, so, you're like into this, huh? You're really
Gambino, man. He's my boy. Like that's
we have been listening to more Childish Gambino. Yeah, fucking good, dude.
One of my it's probably right under the national for thing I want to see.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, I have to be there for that. So, like, I'll probably do, like, some of Grizz, some of Gojira, and then...
I wish it was the opposite way. Like, I wish Courtney Barnett was the 7:30 and Grizz was 7:45. Because then I would start at Courtney Barnett, see a couple songs of that, then go to Grizz. But since it's the opposite, that's really awkward, and I might honestly just stay at Grizz. If I'm being totally honest, like, knowing my lazy self, like, it's like I come up with all these plans, and then it's like unless I'm really, really drawn to the other one, it's hard to pull yourself away unless like for whatever reason Grizz isn't
Talk
as
a little bit
good.
about Grizz. Like, what are they?
Okay, Grizz is like very funky electronic music, and he also plays live saxophone. So he's like really cool, very, very funk.
Very high energy.
Very high energy. It's one of these like good show ones too, where people get super into that shit. I mean, I've never seen him.
Side note, it is on which stage?
But every time that I've talked to people about those shows, like they're like, I mean, people coming away from like Electric Forest and stuff, like will point out like, yeah, that Grizz was fucking awesome. Like he was so good, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Grizz is like the cream of the crop in my mind, at least currently, as far as like, I know in the past, there's been a lot of DJs that we as a group have liked, stuff like Pretty Lights and whatever. And I think he definitely inherits, not because that mantle, because he sounds similar, but that mantle is in like, he's definitely a show to be seen. I mean, I've never seen him. I've watched live shows to see what people are talking about and like try to get a feel for it. But it does
never capture it quite as well.
Right. It does seem to be very hyped. So I will probably also try to go. I am pretty torn because those three are bands, all three bands that I was pretty high on my list.
Yeah, I was going to ask you specifically about Gojira because I know a little bit about it, but you seem to be more excited about it.
I probably know less. I mean, I probably the same or less that you do. It's just that I like metal probably more than you do. As you guys,
Cody's our resident metalhead.
Yeah, if I ever need metal advice, I ask Marco.
Yeah, no. The thing is, like, to call myself a metalhead is not fair to the people who call themselves.
But for live shows, for
live stuff, like, it's not what I listen to in live.
You want to see a man mosh with the best of them? Dark
God, put me in.
In the middle of the day, it could be 105 degrees.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't care if it's hot. It's better. There's something. It's just great. It's just beautiful. Like that's all I have to say about Gojira. Like they seem to me. I've probably watched a live show and listened to some stuff, and they're very sort of like this crushing, not necessarily slow, but not high paced, not screechy metal. Like just very sort of dominating, heavy stuff and like heavy riff type stuff. And
they remind me of the guys from Atlanta. I can't believe I'm blanking right now.
Mastodon?
Yeah,
man. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, man. I'm really conflicted because what I want to say that I'm going to do is start at Courtney Barnett and then go see Gojira to the end. But that just eliminates Grizz, which just seems crazy to do. So I may have to cut Courtney Barnett out, even though I'm pretty hyped about that show, and do like Grizz until I am ready to like go at some point, and then maybe go catch the last half of Gojira. So
yeah,
like if I go see Gojira, man, like if I end up on Gojira, I mean,
he's not coming out of
moshing, there. Yeah, like hopefully people are moshing and going crazy. So like I'm gonna come out of that show like both hyped and exhausted. So I don't know.
And I think Courtney Barnett is worth mentioning. I mean, she's Grammy winner, right? Did she win Song of the Year or?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
She's
good. I've been getting more into it.
I watched her like 2 or 3 years ago.
Now just in time to not be able to see her. So cool.
Yeah, she played 2 or 3 years ago, and it was great. I didn't know anything about her, and I just went and sat and was like, this is a show, whatever. I'll see who this is, and it was good enough to like pull me in from that standpoint. I was just sitting in the grass, being like, I don't care about this show. I'm just sitting down to rest. To like, goddamn, who is this? And like, why do I not know who this is? So. Definitely great guitar player, really great songwriter.
Yeah, Rolling Stone praised her as one of the sharpest, most original songwriters around at any level in any genre.
Yeah, she's great. Like,
that's a pretty high praise.
Yeah, she's truly obviously somebody who really does it for the love of it. I mean, I'm not saying she's not trying to make money, but she's very extremely talented.
For Bonnaroo to put her on that stage at 8:00 or 7:45 against.
It's kind of
other kind of
what are
names.
they doing?
Yeah.
What's
like,
that about?
How does Gojira and Courtney Barnett get the same? I guess that Bonnaroo does have a tendency to try and divide crowds so that people are less crowded at the shows.
I mean, and then Grizz is another one. So Grizz is going to be a huge pool. It's going to pull tons of people.
Yeah,
Gojira will pull who it pulls. Like the people who go to Gojira are going to be the people who go regardless. I mean,
right.
And then Courtney Barnett is, I think. That's all the more to her credit. She's actually really going up against Grizz, who, as we've been discussing, has a huge draw.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of to her credit, and I think this tent is going to be pretty packed. I think it's going to be a really packed show. In my opinion, because I mean, what else is going on? Like Medicine, whatever that is. Which, no offense, you guys are great. You know,
right? Yeah,
but yeah, we don't know it. Yeah.
I
So
just
moving
hope
on.
that this year, before I get into Gambino, I just hope that this year that stage, the sound is better. Because then, I mean, they had issues in the past with having those remote screens on the side so that you could see, and it like messes.
Yeah,
I mean, at least
if you go too far out there, it doesn't work at all.
So just a word of advice, guys. If you see somebody out of this or that tent
get under
that you
the
really
tent.
want to see, get under the tent. Like, it's worth it. The sound quality is going to be better.
Even if you're in the very barely hanging on, you're under 1 inch of the thing, it makes a huge difference.
The vibes are just different. I know I'm going to use the word vibes a lot, but the feeling of being in the tent is different than even standing just a foot outside of it. There's something about like, I'm in this show. Like, I mean, I don't know. Get in the tent.
That's a quick piece of advice.
But you'll be able to hear it too.
Yeah, so Gambino,
anyways,
man.
Childish Gambino, 100%.
This is why
awesome.
I can't believe you guys are so hyped. I must be like, I mean, I know Gambino. I know all the new singles. I'm not as hyped, I guess.
The reason that I'm so excited about him is I think that he is an artist that can use that stage. Because sometimes you get you get artists on the biggest stage that they have at Bonnaroo, which is the What stage, which is Gambino's a headliner, so he'll be there. That just the stage is too big for them, and like it's just not.
Yeah, they don't utilize it to the fullest extent.
Exactly, they don't use what they have, and like Gambino is 100% going to use the stage, and like, and
he'll probably be a really good like actual performer too.
Yeah,
he's too creative.
His whole thing
smart.
is like, I'm into me, like I'm doing this better than anybody, and so like just what he's going to bring to the show and bring to the table, I think is going to be fucking fantastic.
I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. Rich kid asshole, paint me as a villain. Don't be mad cause I'm doing me better than you doing you. Don't be mad cause I'm doing me better than you doing you.
And secondly, like hip hop shows at Bonnaroo tend to be really good. Like any of the ones that I've
especially
been to.
that Friday night, that slot right there that he has.
Yeah,
Jared and I have a long history of missing incredible hip hop acts right there because we go back to our tent right then.
Yeah,
and then we come back and people are like, "Oh my god, did you see blah blah blah?" And we're like, "No, we went back to the tent."
Yeah,
and we're like, "Damn it."
I mean, I've seen Eminem on that stage twice. He did really well. Lil Wayne did really well. I mean, Jay-Z, I wasn't there for that, but I heard that was awesome. He had Stevie Wonder on the stage. And I just feel like hip-hop shows in that environment don't seem like they would be really good, but they end up being
They get so hyped. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. You guys know, apparently.
Oh, Macklemore, that was also a fucking awesome show.
That was during the day, though.
Yeah, I know. And it was...
But yeah, and they canceled it in the middle of the way, and then he came back and finished, which was pretty cool of him.
Yeah.
The only real note I have about Childish Gambino, other than that, like, hopefully I'll be there. I may, in fact, have to admit that I may make the mistake of going back to the camp, but I would like to go to the show. And I am hyped about it. Like, I do like all the songs. I mean, you know, any of the songs that I know, and like I've listened to a fair bit, and I like it. But apparently, or supposedly, it's some of the last shows that he's doing, or it's the last tour that he's doing under the Childish Gambino name, and I think he's going to use his.
Even better.
Yeah, he's going to use his. He's going to use his real name. He's just going to be Don Glover when he plays. I think is how it's going to be. Like I haven't like checked up and like read any fan theories and actual news articles. I just remember seeing it a couple different times and people saying that like.
So we could be witnessing the death of Gambino.
Yeah, this is supposedly the last time you'll ever see him as Childish Gambino.
Oh, that's even
he's
better.
really going to bring it. I'm even more excited now.
Right. So like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's probably going to be a pretty wild show from him as well, which is all the more point of like going back to the anomalous good show, like that kind of vibe that you start getting, like the last show under a different name, last American show, that kind of stuff, which isn't for him, but these special one-offs, the artist tends to get into it and makes the show all the more cool and better. So.
Right.
So then next up we've got Solange and then
Beach
House.
Hold on. We got to talk.
Terrence is into the Gambino, man.
Oh no! I thought you were skipping. I read it wrong because I was going to say like, what do we feel about Fish? But
I was going to say for me, this Solange and Beach House thing. No offense to either of those. Sorry, you're great, but that's when probably I'll take a quick it'll be a later night break for us than usual, but I think that's when I'll go quick back to the tent.
I agree.
Or snack, beer, whatever, get my hula hoop or something, and then come back for fish. Because I mean, beach house is like it's like good, but it's kind of one of those things like, I don't know.
I don't know much
I don't
about it.
care much about
what does it even
to me.
sound like?
It just sounds like stuff
It's
to
like
be
indie
on,
dream pop.
like while you're having a conversation, not like paying attention. Like
I
no
also-
offense, sorry,
house.
beach house, but I mean, I could be totally wrong, and they could put on an incredible show, and I'm just an
Supposedly
asshole.
they do.
But so maybe we'll try to catch the end of that or something.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, all my like cool like current indie friends, whatever, you know, they're into beach house typically. I think they're very critically well regarded, but it's just not, because it's like this indie dream pop
Right.
sort of soft,
I've just never personally been able to
vaguely
really
psychedelic
get into them.
thing.
Yeah.
That I mean, sounds like I should love it, right? But somehow I've just not gotten super into it. But maybe that'll change. Like the beach house is one I'm gonna really try to dive into a little bit before.
Yeah, maybe we should too. Yeah, we'll give
it's
it
a band
more of a
people have told me
try.
I should like, and I just haven't somehow. So we'll see.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
how do you
then
guys
we've
feel
got
about
fish.
fish? I mean,
I'm about it. I'm so gonna just. I mean,
I'm gonna
doubling
try.
down,
I'm gonna go. I'm
double
gonna go
dose and
for it.
just-
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I'm gonna try to go in there with as open mind as I can, and because I've seen fish before at Bonnaroo,
me too. Yeah.
and I had to say I was pretty close-minded to it, so I think I was set out not to like it. And also, since then, like that, when was that I saw them? I don't know. It was a long time ago.
2009
And
was the last time they played, I think.
I was so much more closed-minded to jam band stuff then. Like I've kind of had a much better appreciation of that genre now.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, there's got to be something to it, right? Like there's all these people that
there
are
is.
go into them, like. Yeah, so I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, but also I don't really know fish either. So you know,
I've tried to listen to a lot of songs on record and just try to get a feel for it, and they've all pretty much fallen flat for me. But I have a couple of people. So I for the listeners here, I work at a bar in DC, and so a lot of some of the regulars there are very big fish heads. Like very, very fish fans or whatever the hell they call themselves.
Yeah, they call them fish heads, I think.
They are very
or something like that.
As in, like one of the guys claims he's seen them over 100 times, like that kind of stuff. Like, you know, has in the past followed them for several tours in a row. Yeah, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just really honest with them. And it was just like, you know, I don't know fish. Like they seem hokey to me or something. Like anytime I've tried to listen, like I've not gotten into it. I've seen them live before, but I was like, I actually even told them what you just said, which is like I was pretty close-minded to it. And both of these guys that are big fish fans and other random people that I've talked to, they all start out saying, even before I've told them that sort of thing, is like, just be open-minded. Like it's not about like, don't care about like the music, like what you know about what's on the discography. Just like the whole point and why the jam part of it is that they may only play 3 songs, you know, that's unlikely. But, you know, the point is like they have these crazy jams and it's all about just the feeling in the moment and whatever they take you there in the moment. And I mean, there's got to be something about that many musicians that talented and that able to do whatever they want on stage. It's got to be good. Like I have to be, it has to be good. Like there's just no way that it can't be. I mean, in my mind, like even if I don't like just love it, like it has to, I mean, they have to be.
Also, I will say I really love the people that love fish. Like, I like that we're bringing those like straight up hippie people back because, I mean, there are so many people that follow fish still and like will go to Bonnaroo just for that. Like, and so it's like it brings a even better vibes in. Like, then I mean, no offense, electronic people and indie people, but like. it helps having some real hippies around.
Yeah, it's about all kinds. Bonnaroo. I definitely appreciate the what is the word, pastiche? Is that applicable here? Nature
I
of
don't know what
the
that
different
word is, but
of the well, we're going with it. But of like the
Sure.
of the old hippie, quote unquote, whatever, and then the new hippie, and then the whatever, the
and
indie
you
kids,
got your
and the
rap
raves,
people
and the rap, and you got the hardcore metal. Like, I love that.
I do too. But
so anyway, Death Heaven, which is I'm probably the only one of the three of us who give a shit about that. I am definitely gonna be Death Heaven from start to finish, so that's gonna be great.
All right, I do want to mention one thing about Fish real quick.
Okay.
Just as a side note, sidebar, is I used to do this thing. There was a time in my Bonnaroo experience where all of a sudden a light bulb flipped on, and I started being a regular practice is I just never miss the headliners. Like, I don't care if I like them. I don't care if I just genuinely don't like them. Like, I still go because, if you don't like it, you can always leave. But the experiences that I've had seeing people that I would normally not go to and the Grateful Dead or the Dead and Company, when they played, that comes to mind. That went from, I guess I'll just go check it out, to, wow, that was probably, if not the best show I saw this weekend, maybe,
one of the top three.
Right, it's exactly.
It was truly jaw-dropping. Its points.
Yeah. And it was a thing that going into it, I was like, yeah, whatever. But coming out of it, I was like, oh, I get it now. So I'm hoping this happens with Fish for me. So that's how I'm going to approach that. But yeah, just general advice: always go see the headliners. Like, there's a big stage. They go all out. They have all the bells and whistles. Like, it's a good
if
time.
Nothing else, just look at it. If you don't even care about the music, it's gonna be cool to look at. Yeah,
and I've even had been in my campsite hearing the main stage and being like, God damn it, why am I not there right now?
Yeah, I've had that experience too many times to be.
Yeah. So go see the headliners, guys. But anyways,
I agree. Well, no, I think that's an excellent point. Actually, go see the headliners, and even if you just put a towel down at the back and just sit, or put a blanket. I mean, I guess people, whatever. You're not. Some people aren't towel people, I guess.
Don't call
it. But really, just go. Like, there's too many bands that I've missed in the past, especially earlier on in me going to Bonnaroo's, which, if you haven't listened to our part 1 of this series, I've been 10 times. I think Jess said you had been 12 times and Jared had been 8. So we are all have had plenty of time to both make right and wrong decisions. And the right decision is just go sit. Like, even if you fall asleep, you're dead.
I felt dead ass asleep.
Just go to the back and sleep. It's totally cool.
I was in there snoozing. Sorry, Dave Matthews.
I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep during Billy Joel.
Oh, and Jared and I, we laid down
I went
going
from
full
digging
to sleep.
that show to waking up in the middle of Die Young or something or The Good Die Young.
It was so loud, and we woke up and we were like, oh my God.
So, but just go.
That's
the point. Just go.
Okay,
so switching into late night.
Well, so does anybody have any feelings about Death Heaven? Am I the only one who knows?
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know it, no.
Okay, so they played some number of years ago. I want to say, 2010, 2013. It could be whatever, but it's been several years, and I didn't even know they were still kicking and going around. But they're basically this. It's really hard to describe, but it's this sort of almost Explosion in the Sky-esque thing, where it's vaguely, largely, instrumental, but it's way more metal oriented. But they do this
sounds interesting.
switch. Yeah, they do this switch where instead of having a slow build to something, their structure tends to be this very orchestral, very clean, non-distorted sort of parts, and then they go immediately into these very abrasive, very loud, very screamy, very aggressive other parts of the song. It's this sort of back and forth. And of course, not every song.
Quite the opposite of Fish.
Yeah, and so they there is a vocalist, but he is buried so low in the mix, both on records and live, and he basically just. I mean, this sounds maybe off-putting to people. He essentially just shrieks the entire time, but his vocals are so low in the mix that it comes off almost more like guitar distortion. So instead of just feeling like you're hearing somebody scream at you, it's more like you feel like you're hearing an extra part of like this wave of distortion that comes and goes, and is honestly, I think it's really good. It's definitely, I mean, Deaf Heaven is it's absolutely the loudest show I've ever watched in my entire life, aside from perhaps Bass Nectar. Like they certainly,
Really?
yes, it's out. I mean, the only other thing that has ever rivaled it, aside from like, of course, like maybe just the huge headliners, but even then, is like, yeah, I mean, Bass Nectar is what comes to mind, because even in small stages, Bass Nectar is just obscenely loud. Like Deaf Heaven, like I was up close, like I was on the rail because nobody's there.
Truly,
nobody shows up to metal shows, unfortunately, or not enough people. So I was just on the rail, and I had to walk back because it was like confusingly loud. Like I couldn't even like focus.
Yeah.
So,
what was the band that like made up their own language?
Sigur Rós?
Sigur Rós, yeah. So when you're talking about just like burying it and having his voice be just a quality of the mix of sound, like that reminded me a lot of Sigur Rós, because he'll do those really high shrieky things and like fade them out and fade them in and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's not going to be for everybody,
It
but
sounds cool though.
It's worth checking out, even if you're
If
not.
you don't like fish, if you're sitting
Yeah.
at fish and you hate it,
Right.
go check that out.
If you want to see
And I
something
mean,
completely
yeah.
different, go see
Yeah.
Deaf Heaven.
Yeah, because it's the antithesis. I mean, it's loud, it's shocking, it's just a wall of sound. I mean, the whole like I went and saw him a couple years ago, like I said, and like I left feeling like, I mean, there was just no other show like it. I'm not saying it was the best, but there's nothing else quite like that I've ever seen. So I will absolutely be there. So I'm pretty hyped about that.
Yeah, so late night for Friday. Yeah, and just as again, sidebar, late night is always a lot of fun for us as a group. I believe we all enjoy late night.
Yeah.
It's probably if we're talking just like artists and stuff like that, it tends to
And
be
just
one of
like
my
you
favorite
feel like
times.
a creature walking around
Yeah, I
there.
love it.
Everything is glowing.
I love
It's so much fun going
and
on.
again, our cone glow, our whole operation here started late night at Bonnaroo one time.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
definitely really special to us. But regardless, like, yeah, it's a good time, guys. I mean, if you guys want to mention anything specifically about late night, but or just the general, specifically about the general feeling of late night, please do so. But yeah, I just wanted to take a second to say,
my feeling about it is it
that's
just
my
feels like
favorite
a
part.
playground. It's like a playground for, adults, basically. It's like it's like everything that you would want to be going on late at night to do is going on. Like there's like full on dance parties. You can go on the Ferris wheel still. You can go to the silent disco. You can be in the midst of a huge crowd. You can just walk around. There's more room in the fields to just like walk around.
Really come out for that. That's when you.
Oh yeah.
It's when it feels like
on.
Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the most
especially
like
Friday night. It's like that's when the real magic starts. It's like something transforms in everyone, and it's like, okay, now we're at Bonnaroo.
And Gambino's kicking it off.
Yeah. Well, it's like the actual. I suppose the technically first late night would be, if we're cutting it after 1 a.m., is like Brockhampton and then immediately Grizz Super Jam, which is both of those are going to be great. Brockhampton is one I'm personally really pumped for, but the Grizz Super Jam, I mean, the Super Jams, if people don't know, are something they do every year where Bonnaroo, I think, typically gets one artist to sort of put it together, and they pick a bunch of other artists and they have a theme. And so sometimes it's covering one other artist and it's a bunch of, or it's just a live incarnation of like Skrillex did one where he was like, I think he was like one of the first DJ ones who did it. And he basically DJ'd a sort of reggae thing. And so the Grizz Super Jam should be pretty cool. So who knows who's going to come out? Like that's the whole point. Like you never know.
Yeah.
I've seen, I mean, who was it? Like the one of the stranger ones to me as far as was like R. Kelly, Billy Idol, Jim James, and these other random people all on stage, like relatively the same time or back to back playing, old like 80s songs and stuff. It's pretty wild because that was the whose Super Jam would that have been? Was that did Jim James have one? I don't even remember why.
Yeah, he did have one.
So
I
whatever,
don't
a couple
know.
years
I
ago.
only
So like,
started going to those pretty recently, honestly.
oh, they're so good. Like it's like a unique experience that you can only ever
they are
have.
totally different than anything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
that's
worth
pretty
checking out. So that should be fun.
Just real quick, does anybody want to talk about their favorite Super Jam moment?
I don't really have one.
Homeboy from Cage the Elephant coming out and singing Breakdown was pretty good. Was that?
That was
is
the
that,
one I was going to say too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Matt Schultz.
Yeah, which Cage the Elephant is one of my current like favorites as far as like people still out and about and doing stuff. So that was cool. And Tom Petty, of course, I mean, is just great. So that blend, but that's what I'm talking about. Like the Super Jams are full of moments
That's
like
what
that.
you get at Super Jams, though.
Like you get these
It's
great,
just like weird.
crazy things.
Who was it that came out last year that we saw that was like some pop artist?
Like Haley Williams came out at some point.
No, it was somebody like an old pop art. It was like, oh god,
Oh yeah,
do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, Vanessa Carlton, yeah. She came out and did like a Tom Petty song. We're like, what? Like,
yeah,
Vanessa Carlton is just like here. Like, hold on.
That's the thing with Super Jams, and again, people who don't know or who have never checked them out, like it tends to be like when there's been behind the scenes like things about these, and they are as loose and wild as you could potentially imagine. Like they are not as buckled down as some people would. Oh, they know exactly what's going to happen. Like I've seen lots of people talk about how last minute some of these artists are, and like, oh, so and so just said they'd be interested to show. Like, do you think you could fit them in? So then they change the set list just to play a song for, you know what I mean? Like, the Super Jams tend to be incredibly eclectic and one of a kind. So like, I'm super hyped about Brockhampton, but I'm probably going to leave Brockhampton like midway through unless it's just incredible, and then watch most, if not all, of the Grizz Super Jam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably check out part of it, but I'm definitely gonna be at Girl Talk for part of the time because I just love Girl Talk.
I do too,
so
but
fun.
Yeah.
And RL Grime is good too, but I don't know it as well as Girl Talk. So it's,
me neither. If I were to go to either
I guess that's one of those things where you actually can just like quick leave. It does, you do feel a little bit freer sometimes late at night. Like it's easier, like timing wise, to just like, you actually can check out more than one thing. You know, like during the day, I feel like sometimes it's so crowded that it's harder to get through to different places, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But at night, it's like you really can, okay, I'm going to go see half of Girl Talk and half of RL Grime or whatever, if you want to do that.
However, I will say there's something to be said about these shows are going to be fucking packed. And while the party goes well beyond the tents, and despite what we were saying earlier, you know, there's big screens and that you can, like at this point, these acts tend to fill up huge areas. There is something to be said about missing all of the other ones and just say being up close for Girl Talk the whole time.
Yeah, it takes dedication for sure. Like you got to dedicate to doing that. So if
you sacrifice other shows and time, but it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that about covers Friday because then they got the Calliope after that. You know,
and then they have that 90s rave, which that's become a pretty big thing. I mean, we don't go to that, but people do at Snake and Jake's get into these like things.
Snake and Jake's.
So that's an option for people if you
won't ever find me in that barn.
That's not really
Rave City, baby.
Rave City in there, man.
I mean, people do get really into this 90s and 80s things or whatever. So, anyways,
I want to talk about Saturday, guys, because Saturday is the day for me. Like, it's got all, you know, outside of Gambino, it's like all my favorite acts. And it just so happens that a lot of it lines up to where I get to see almost whole shows of people I want to see. So, yeah, I mean, just if Thursday was a jack-o'-lantern, Friday is like, like when you're camping and you hit that really strong flashlight and you're looking right into it and it kind of blinds you and then you like adjust. Like that's how Friday's gonna be for me. But like Saturday is just like fucking supernova glow because and I say that and I don't even I don't even start until 7:30, but does anybody I guess Hozier comes on at 6:15.
I don't really know any of these super early ones. Hippocampus, I've heard of. I don't really know much about what it is, but I've heard of that, and I feel like heard good things from people. So if there's like a random afternoon one that I gotta check out, it's probably that. Hosier.
Sorry.
Casey Musgrave, we've been listening to a little bit. And she won like artist or what album of the year this year. So I mean, she's a pretty big deal. So that should be a good show.
I didn't know him and I didn't know me. Cloud nine was always out of reach. Now I remember what it feels like to fly. You give me butterflies.
Oh, Shovels and Rope is at 6:15.
Yeah,
Show row.
that was the other
Battling
one I was gonna
Hosier.
Oh, guys, we forgot the best show of Thursday is me. I will be doing a fermentation workshop.
mention.
Oh, what?
Code's still out at the Academy.
Yeah, I will
you'll
be at the
doing
Academy
it on what? Oh,
on
fermentation.
Thursday at I believe it's at 6. That could get moved around. It's like 5 or 6, but yeah, I'm so
Oh,
back
cool.
a little bit of quick backstory. I actually volunteer through a nonprofit that some of my old high school friends and still obviously very current, very good friends run, or our friends, but out of Tennessee. And so they have been sort of more or less running all of the classes and stuff that goes on the Academy, which tends to be like green, sort of green living classes and stuff like that. So I'm doing a quick fermentation workshop. Sorry, I didn't actually mean to talk about that.
Yeah,
but
no,
there's a
No, we wanted to talk about that.
that's so I'll be doing that as part of that sort of thing on Friday. They do classes all weekend at the Academy, usually earlier on, and they range from like they tend to be, again, they're about like gardening and recycling and green living and stuff like that. So that's also very cool. So yeah, best show of Thursday, guys. Don't forget your boy Dark Dome.
Fermenting things.
Anyway, yeah, back to Saturday or back to Friday.
So,
Or no, it's
Saturday. So yeah, Shovels and Rope versus Hosier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too, but
whatever.
Casey Musgraves, I am 100%
Yeah.
gonna have fun with.
Oh, really? I should go. I don't know enough about her, but
We've been listening to her just today a little bit more.
Oh, that song Biscuits?
She has a lot of songs about just like do what you want, don't let people tell you what to do, stay in your own business kind of thing. Like
if you are a Southerner,
she's-
Casey Musgraves is talking to you.
Yeah.
She's,
it's basically
fun.
like fuck off, like let me live my life kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But while being a cute little girl.
has she played at Bonnaroo before? I feel like she has as well. I could be mistaken.
Oh, I have no idea.
I believe she has.
I think actually you're right. I think she did.
Yeah, she's definitely
I'm pretty
an
sure
artist
she
that's
does.
Did she play last year?
No, but a couple years ago.
Something
and I
pretty
think she was
recently.
smaller. Yeah, like within the last like 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
To back up the time a little bit, though, and not all the way to Thursday this time, but Unknown Mortal Orchestra at 4 is something that I think the two of you would like if you haven't listened to it.
Well, here's the thing: is it seems like I would like them, but every time I try, I don't like it.
Well, that's
So
they're sort of like Tame Impala-esque psych indie rock stuff where it's like very catchy, but like they have that funny friends like no. I don't know. I'm not going to sing on this microphone right now, but it's like Funny Friends is like the old classic that you've probably heard, and then everything else, like their new album is really good. It's pretty trippy, pretty drawn out, very, very well produced. Like, I mean, I don't just love it, but I do think that it's very unique and it's distinct from, just being like a general psych rock album. Like it has its own. They definitely have their own flavor and vibe and abilities. So that'll be a cool show. Like I'm not like super hyped about it, but I am gonna go.
yeah, I might check it out,
It's
but
a little
it's
early
one of
for me,
those things I'm not sure about. We'll see.
Yeah, Jared, the sun's still out. Jared's not about it.
Still out, still really hot that time.
Which worth mentioning, by the way, is a sidebar to our late night conversation, which we can, is that if you are somebody who wants to party, sacrifice some of the early shows. Sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
Don't go out in the sun. Don't get your ass beat by the sun until you go out if you want to party until sunrise.
Mhm.
You will be feeling
Know
it.
yourself.
Pretty impossible to be out super late at night and be going to shows at like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Like
or
you
like,
kind of got to choose which
like
one.
if you want to see a sunrise, which this is my day to see a sunrise usually. I like to do it like Saturday, maybe
Mhm.
Friday or Saturday night. Don't go out, or if you do, sleep some more. Anyway, let's carry on.
Yeah. And the older you are, the older
Yeah,
you get,
also
the
once
harder
you
it
get
is.
If you're 20, I
It's
mean,
hard.
fuck you. I guess you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so after Casey Musgraves. I've got my man James, the guitar genius himself, Jim James.
Yeah.
Does
And
anybody-
John Prine is up at the same time
Yeah,
too.
Pinecone is also playing.
And of course, those both conflict with Odessa, which I'm super pissed about.
So, can someone answer this for me? Does Jim James play My Morning Jacket stuff?
I actually do not know if he does.
I'm going to assume that he does.
I assumed also that he does.
He has a wealth of solo albums, though, so he has
Right.
plenty to draw from if he doesn't want to.
Well, that's what I thought for the longest time with Robert Plant, and then I was like, wait, he plays Led Zeppelin songs? I didn't know that.
I would
reason to go
assume
see your
that
head-
probably he does. Because there's posters up here for his tour, and up here being in DC, and it lists him as Jim James of My Morning Jacket, which is a pretty, I get it. They're trying to identify who he is, but I think that with that kind of billing,
Yeah, he might play one or two or something. But anyways, yeah, I'm probably going to be at Odessa, honestly.
Oh man, I'm sacrificing everything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of these last minute decisions. I really don't.
Oh man, no, I'm getting it. I'm sacrificing Odessa, Jim James, and John Prime to go get mine for the National and just fucking be up there to cry my heart out.
Yeah, the National is my top act.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's my
I
number
can't-
one thing too.
Oh,
so
I'm
I'm
so
gonna be
ready.
sacrificing. I'm sure Odessa is gonna be playing "Say My Name" at the end of their set, so I'm gonna miss that to go. But that's fine,
Yeah.
whatever, because the National is more important to me. So,
Yeah, and
but I'm still not happy about it because Odessa is my second most favorite thing that's playing.
and
so.
another quick note about the National is they are on which stage. So
I'm ready.
sometimes the sound doesn't work out.
Yeah,
so
so
well
you gotta
there,
get up.
So
Get up there, find
Yeah.
your right
Oh,
pocket
man.
of sound.
If anybody, I don't think we need to explain the sub-headliners and stuff as to who the National is to people. But if you
that's what I
haven't,
was saying, yeah.
if you haven't seen them live, or if you don't know or whatever, this is, of course, we all three just said it's our favorite act. So obviously we're going to be biased here, but it is a show of shows. I mean, it's a whole experience. Like the crowd is usually very engaged. Like the band is very good. They're both very talented and very.
That guy lays it on the fucking line.
And you might have
man.
heard some of their songs
He
and
leaves
just thought it's
everything on the
sad or
stage.
whatever, but give it a shot.
They're way more high energy
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
I pretty much only listen to National live shows when I listen to the National, because their recorded versions, while just gorgeous, are often way slower, way less distorted, way more calm, way more sad. Whereas when he sings live, there's a lot more yelling and there's a lot more emotional gruff aspect to it. It's a little bit faster and it's a little bit more like rock. Whereas is on albums, they tend to go towards quieter, more sort of subdued production. So that's I'm gonna.
They're incredible. Definitely check it out.
So yeah, that's
I
where
remember in that one show that we saw together, the three of us in Atlanta. I mean, I was thinking this couldn't be any better. There's nothing about this show that could be any better. It's all the way up, as high as you can.
We all the way up
For real.
I agree.
And he has a tendency to come out into the crowd. So,
oh man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be front row if I can. I'm just gonna be right there, ready to go.
You'll touch him.
And just another.
I mean, I probably will. Maybe he'll sweat on me a little bit.
Dreams in total darkness. Why are you hiding from me? We're in a different kind of thing now. All night you're talking to God. Now can I explain it?
We've mentioned it before, but just another quick sidebar pro tip here. For a show this important to you, take the time to get there early and get a good spot.
Oh yeah, I'll probably be
Definitely
there.
do that.
My plan, this may be over the top. I don't know, and it's hard to tell with bands and how long you should. Because so for anybody who doesn't know, by the way, there is a pit area. This is a good time to talk about that for both what stage and which stage. There are not pit areas for any of the other stages. So, it's first come, first serve essentially to both. But there are lines at the very left, the far left of each stage, that will take some, coordinating and discussing and making sure you're in the line, because they're very haphazard. But when you get in them, be very buddy, know who's in front of you, know who's behind you, lock that shit down because people like to jump in last minute. I will probably be there. I'll probably watch, I'll probably just see all of whatever else of Casey Musgraves and then just stay and be in the line that entire time. So I'll probably get there.
James, huh?
Oh, dude, I'm going to miss everything. I'm serious. I am going to do my best to make sure that I am on the sacrifice row of the National. That is my goal. So you don't have to do that if you just want to be in the pit. You can actually usually get there pretty like an hour before and you'll get in typically. Sometimes even 30 minutes before, depending on the show.
Depends on the
if you want the rail, then yeah.
But if you want the rail, I'm talking about the pit. But if you want the rail, of course, that's a whole other thing. And if I'm not literally the rail, that's fine. But my goal is to be there about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 full hours beforehand.
Yeah, and a quick thing on that is they clear that pit out after every show, so you can't just camp out in there in the pit the whole time. They clear it out and let the next crowd in, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just that's the whole lines thing. Make sure you're in the right lines. So yeah, Saturday late night.
Well, we haven't got quite there yet. We have Post Malone.
Oh, the Posty Boy.
Which I'm not sure still what I think about this guy, but I'll check it out.
I'm going to follow my rule and I'm going to go to the headliner, but
it should be fun. A couple,
It'll be good. It's good vibes. I think he's actually pretty good. I'm not not super hyped, not something I get super into, but he does have very catchy songs. They're very sort of hypnotic and they loop these same verses. They're very well produced.
And people will all be singing along.
Yeah, and they're very easy to sing too. Yeah. So you can get into it. I think people are going to be good. Some of them are more emotional and slow. Some of them are bangers. So it's going to be a show that has a little bit of dynamic range, believe it or not. He seems like a very infectious personality. He seems like a very likable guy. So I think the show's going to have good feelings and he's going to be a good entertainer. I'm not going to rage, and I may honestly only catch the last part of it. I may go back after the National, rest a little bit, and then come back and catch the last little bit of Post Malone. But we'll see. I think it'll be fine.
You probably think that you are better now. You only say that 'cause I'm not around. You know I never meant to let you down.
So after Post Malone, what are we looking at, folks? What are we looking at?
Post Malone.
Yeah.
Post Malone. I guess maybe. Lonely Island seems funny. I can't even imagine what that would be like, but I'll probably go to Grammatic.
Yeah, I also think that Lonely Island would probably be a good show as far as entertainment value, but Grammatic is really good. I like Grammatic. And also Grammatic's really good to hoop too, so I'll probably
what is specifically Grammatic? I can't think. I get Grammatic, all of those guys confused.
It's kind of it's groovy, kind of like
saxophone-y?
No, not saxophone. That's Grizz. But it's electronic, but kind of I don't know, kind of groovy. I don't know how to. Let's see.
Cody, you got any insight on?
Oh well, I haven't really listened to Grammatic enough to really give you super in depth. It's just something that people talk about. We've seen him before. He played at. I believe we saw him at perhaps Austin City Limits or something. He was a late night set, and it was one that we went to the end. But it's definitely big, loud. Kind of funky, groovy, dubsteppy, vaguely.
Yeah, it's kind of a blend of different types of electronic stuff.
Yeah, I felt like he samples lots of stuff that you even remixes a lot of other popular songs are popular at the moment, off the radio and stuff. So it's
he does. I didn't even think he did a lot of stuff like that.
Maybe not. Maybe again, I could be getting things confused. This is not something I'm obviously super hyped about. I just know that people like it. It's kind of so I feel like that's where I'll go.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big Grammatic fans are probably gonna just lose their fucking minds right now because I think. But yeah, I'm still gonna go. Like that said, he has enough hype around him that I'm gonna be there. So
yeah, and then the Lonely Island.
It makes you feel like you can just kind of walk around. It's very I don't know, it has a. It's not a big build up and then a drop. It's more of you can walk around feeling like a creature. That's one of our favorite things to do late night, by the way. Everyone is walking around like you're a little creature. to a beat of the
of
music,
course.
and just kind of creeping around.
It's fun.
It's so fun. Yeah.
But the Lonely Island is like I'm on a boat, right?
Yeah.
And dicking
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, which I just can't even imagine, right? Like that.
I mean, it's gonna be funny.
It's kind of fucking stupid. I mean, it's great. It's hilarious. It's great. But and by the way, the comedian that everybody, or at least that the only comedian I know out of the group is Andy Samberg. It's like, I mean, obviously, like Justin Timberlake's not coming out and seeing Dick in a Box, as far as I'm aware. But fuck, I guess he could. He lives in Nashville.
Who?
T-Pain.
I mean, he could.
That because if you're looking for like the absurdity that like maybe the Flaming Lips would offer sometimes.
I mean, they put on a show like the Flaming Lips. I mean, Jesus.
Well, it's not going to be quite like that, but I mean, it's got to be. They're going to do something crazy, right? Like
they have the witch stage, so they got a big stage.
That's true. They have to go big. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's fair.
So I might actually do that.
And it could be really funny, where you're actually just like dying laughing.
And going from Post Malone to the Lonely Island seems like a good transition.
Except that's where you're going to get caught in the
crush.
The cattle herd.
So by the way, let's discuss a little bit. This is a perfect time for a little of a side. I don't think we have
sidebar.
Yeah, a little sidebar because I don't think it's worthy of a segment. But talking about traffic flow for we won't go in super deep here and there for anybody who has not been, Bonnaroo is essentially one giant oval, more or less. It kind of circles and all the stages and stuff go around, and then at the top of and end of one oval to the left splits off another little area that goes to the witch stage or the main what stage. So what's going to happen is all these people coming from Post Malone are going to be walking out of that area right into where the witch stage is, which is at the very top of that oval, right with that. So it's like this very unfortunate meeting of masses where there'll be a bunch of people waiting for the Lonely Island, a bunch of people trying to get to the Lonely Island, and then a bunch of people trying to get past coming from Post Malone, and they're all kind of in this one area.
And you get funneled right in this little thing with this water fountain. And
the restrooms are on your right, and then there's like food vendors on your left.
Yeah, so it's not that bad. It's just it is.
It can be very dense, though.
Yeah, you have to definitely.
These late night sets, that's when it's the worst. That's the worst traffic that you're gonna get.
But I'll tell anybody
the stage to the witch stage.
Yeah, I mean, it can be bad, but anybody, if you're in the situation, if you don't mind crowds, because it's not going to matter, just ride it out. But if you're somebody who doesn't like it, I mean, hang back maybe a little bit. There are actually two ways out. If you go further back on the what stage field and then come out further down in the, the oval or whatever, but it's also harder to get to. And
you're talking about facing to the stage to the right, there are two branches out. There's
right.
one that goes directly to Witch, and then there's one that goes to like that, maybe.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, I think so.
But each of them is going to be crowded.
Yeah.
So if you're really concerned about it, or you're the type of person that's going to actually freak out, either leave early before the end of the big headliners, or stay behind for 30 minutes.
And the other issue there is that branch going to Witch stage, there's normally a big show afterwards, and that's where the restroom facilities are, the indoor ones. And so you get a mix of everyone leaving from the main stage to try and use the restroom before they go out for
the water fountain
night. And that water and it's muddy around the water fountain usually too. So then that creates a smaller area.
You have to make sure you're to the left-ish because there'll be crowds just gathering to the right that are just standing there in line, and then sometimes you get caught oh wait, I'm not in line for anything. I'm just trying to go by. But there are people stopped in front of you that are in line. So it's kind of a clusterfuck right there, to be honest with you. And then there's also a ditch. So
the classic ditch.
Yeah, there's this huge ditch where I don't know why they put it there, but it's like a major runoff, I suppose. And so not only is there just this huge crowd with multiple things going on, you guys get bottlenecked into a smaller little bridge walk over this ditch, whereas like Jessica was saying, if you've got your rain boots on, fuck it, go through the ditch. But if you're, not suited up for that,
I will say one time,
cause a problem.
Quick funny story about this exact place and time that we're talking about. When we were coming from the Police to Flaming Lips, from the what stage to the which stage, one time, it was so bad that I was convinced somehow that Bonnaroo was like setting traps for us. I was like, oh, they really don't want us to get through. Of course, that's absurd. That's not right. But, you know, I really had myself convinced that it was like on purpose.
You know what's funny is we talk about this like it's a bad thing. And of course, it is ultimately an annoyance. An annoyance or a design flaw. I mean, I don't think they can design it much better, unfortunately, just because of how, it's
laid out. Yeah.
But there's something about it. What are the words that I'm trying to grasp here? There's something about that area that I know so well at this point. Like I can see it in my head. I know where the trees are, it has a certain vibe that you've been in it a lot of times. So it's a while it can be annoying, kind of undergoing it is fun. It's an experience.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah. At the time, I'm not always like, I'm in the greatest moods. I mean, most of the time we are, because I think we're good at just like being like, whatever, we're going to just move through the crowd. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think most of us care, but,
Jerry gets panicky sometimes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm saying as a general rule, like we just kind of say fuck it and go.
That's why your spray bottle is good for these giant crowds.
Yes. And so, throw back, get your spray bottle for these moments, because it's also good for yourself. I mean, if it's not just good for spraying other people to move through. This will be a clutch moment. You're coming out of a show. You probably forgot about your spray bottle. You're hot, and then you remember, and it's like, oh my God, and it'll feel like the greatest thing in the world. Anyway, so that's how your experience will be for going from Post Malone to the Lonely Island, or even dramatic, unless you just really wait. I mean,
or go really early.
Yeah. So
the last couple of years, it seems like it's not been as bad, because they've had some people at the Witch stage that like people have been leaving the big shows for. So it's like it seems like a little bit less dramatic as sometimes it's been, but you never know what we're coming up against this year. Yeah. So,
but in sidebar, back to the lineup.
Yeah,
Gucci
Mane. I'm not gonna go to that. You need Kendrick Lamar. So you can notice Gucci Mane, not a headliner, not better than Kendrick. Just saying it.
That was directed at someone.
At a certain person's brother. Yeah. No, I mean it was, but
or brother's friend.
Well, but the something that I actually will go to is this Zoo. I've been listening to Zoo a lot.
Oh yeah, Zoo is good.
I do like
melodic,
that.
downbeat type, down tempo. Maybe that's what I meant to say. Kind of groovy stuff as well. And that 2 to 3 slot, I really like that one, because it's like,
I do too.
You get hyped for the headliners, and then you're like trying to just like buy 2 or 3, at least me. I'm trying to like just find a cool spot to settle for a minute. And that's the type of music that I think could do that. It's not got a whole lot of dramatic drops, but it'd still be fun to go to.
Ooh, some people take it for unit friction, but they try too hard. Ooh, they just don't understand. Too much pressure.
Also, I will say like that other. The other. Gosh, I was about to say the other, cool. But the other stage, I guess now, is they've really done a good job with that, and music really sounds great over there. Like they've really made that into its own little EDM corner. There's always EDM stuff
taking
going
like the tent part down.
Oh, right? It's not a tent at all anymore.
Yeah, it's just like a
stage.
Yeah,
which is convenient.
Huge. Speakers like specifically for like bass and stuff, so they've really done a good job with that. And it feels like, as long as it's not a huge show, like these late night ones and stuff, you do feel like you can have kind of a lot of space out behind you. You know what I mean? You don't feel all clustered in there.
Yeah,
like you can with the Witch stage.
And you can like sit almost as far back as the Ferris wheel and like see everything and hear everything really well.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you're going to Bonnaroo for the EDM or the
give the people what they want.
Right. That's, if you're new, which is like, again, not necessarily why you're listening to this. I guess hopefully all kinds of people are, but if you are and you don't know, it used to not always be like that. Electronic music played in various things, including the Calliope is relatively new. I feel like it's a couple of years at this point, but even that space used to be other things. So having this dedicated tent that's actually really built up and good is kind of, I mean, honestly, what, 2 years? Is it 2 years now? This is the third, maybe? Is that what it is? Or is this just the second?
Of it being, well, I'm
Of
not
it being
sure.
like a big stage,
They've
'cause
kind
there was-
of been edging towards that, but for it to be like exclusively that, I'm not sure. Probably
Yeah,
like,
because I mean, the other tent
the
was what
last,
preceded
like,
it.
couple years, 3 years, something
Yeah,
like
and if
that.
we're talking just pure sound quality, like outside of the main stage, the other
It's
I think
good.
is the best.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. It should be the Witch, but it's just really
It's
not.
just
Yeah.
awful. Like, how is it bad every time? I don't understand how. I mean, and like, can we move the fucking beer thing that's right in the middle of the stage? Like, can we please move that? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
they have like a concession stand like right in the middle of where you would want to stand, and so like not only does it take up that space, it's just like the 15 to 20 feet in front of it. Like, you don't want to stand there because you've got those like the fluorescent
Well, it's got
lights
the
like
sound
right in your
stage
face.
too, anyways. But yeah,
Right, but it's just like the lighting that gets me, because it's like you've got this weird
I don't mind
kind of
anything
weirdly
like that.
lit space like right in the middle that messes with the lights of the show. And so, and then if you're in front of that concession stand, you don't get the sound as well. It's just like,
There's something about those trees.
and then
man.
there's trees. Yeah,
It's definitely got to be the trees that are doing it.
I
Because
hate that stage.
what else could make this sound so
God.
weird?
Yeah, so I mean, for the veterans listening, you guys, we don't even have to tell you, but for everybody else, yeah, which stage is haunted? It's just got a. It seems like, because obviously it's the secondary stage where a lot of your premier acts are playing, but and it can be like this. The quality of it is good if you're just in the right places. That's the problem. It's just like you'll be in a spot that you think should be good because you can see. I mean, there's that, because it also is a hard stage to see visually at some points, especially dead on, because as they're saying, there's a tree and then there's the sound stage, and then there's like a beer little concession stand row, and it's all kind of in the center of view of the stage. So all that prime real estate is just lost, which just seems to just fucking destroy the sound. I don't know what it all is. I couldn't begin to tell you, but
and also you would think with all these things in the way, there would be shade during the day, but somehow there's not.
I know, it's
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone's crowded around that one little tree.
yeah.
It's
So
few trees in the back.
you're just
or
getting
whatever.
blasted with the sun most of it. Like, oh,
So if
God.
there's a show that you really want to see there, like go early
I'm sorry.
and get
I'm
as
sorry if
pretty
that's the
much close
case.
as you can.
Yeah, you need to be up, like where you're in front of that concession stand. Like, if you really want to see
one
something and
side or
hear
the
something
other.
well, you need to be in front of that concession stand. Somehow, some way, you need to get up there.
I agree.
That would be my advice.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Yeah, no, I think that's valid. So as another point, like it's going to be hard for you as a newcomer to know what to do at the time, and it'll be something that takes time. And I know this sounds so strange, like, it'll take you a couple of years, but I mean, if you invest the time, it really can be worthwhile, as I guess, at least the three of us would agree. But it's fun. Like, don't get too bummed out. Like, if you end up in a bad spot, just move. Like, don't just stand there and let it ruin your time. Just
just ignore it and be, have the best.
Yeah, do what you can
with
do.
what you
Yeah.
can hear and see, yeah. Just
So-
don't let it kill your vibe.
Yeah, there's so much to do. I mean, you can always get closer, or honestly, if you're at the Witch specifically, move laterally, move side to side. Sometimes
Yes.
strange. Like, if you can be 10 feet, 15 feet over from where you were, and it shouldn't be better, but it is. So, anyway, so I think after this, there's really not anything so what would you guys do after this? I mean, surely I don't think we would just typically go to our tents, right?
On
None of us
Saturday
are
after
gonna
3.
go. Yeah, because at 3:15, I mean, Calliope's there, of course, but here we are talking about we like to see a sunrise. So, what do you do after 3:00?
Well, kind of check out what's going on in Calliope.
Yeah. I tend to, at this point in Bonnaroo, I will literally just do a lap around the inner grounds just to see what's going on. If I'm not interested in something, I also, we in the past have used this time to meet up again with people and just be like, hey, what's up? So find like your meetup spot.
Go to the academy, chill out for a second.
Yeah, and then also on Saturday night, another good thing to do is get out into the campsites, because you're gonna have a lot of like campsite party stuff going on, I feel like. So just go check out your campsites, because they do have those pods, those community center pods, and they have legitimate stages there.
Yeah, they
so
have. It
if you're
seems
wanting a
like
more like intimate experience where you're kind of done with the big crowd thing, but you kind of still got a little bit going, like walking down Shakedown Street or whatever is always a fun time.
Yeah, because they have small way. Is usually I think the talent there is often good, but it's typically amateur or local, like regional. Yeah, it's not necessarily like bands that but it's good. It's oftentimes I've sat there many a night just staring at what is probably some local regional band, or just some guys who probably work a booth or something, just getting up there jamming, and it's I definitely have been there for at 4 a.m. in the morning, just watching four dudes do Pink Floyd covers by another people cooking falafels or whatever. I mean, it's a fun time, or it can be.
Or if you're an artist, I mean, and you're interested in actually playing, like check out these little because they do have open mic sessions a lot. So if that's something you want to do and get your music out there, there's definitely routes and options for you. So
definitely,
that's another good resource to use.
And it looks like also they have some stuff going on at the Grove until like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
there's this tonalism thing. Bennett Schaefer, they're saying, is from 4 to 6.
I'm going to definitely check that out.
I mean, why not? And then if you're still up at sunrise and you want like something to do, be around people, first of all, you can just walk around and like meet random people that are still up. And that's really cool because everyone's like, they've had probably a crazy night and everyone's really cool. They just want to see the sunrise. But also they have these sunrise meditations this year, sunrise and sunset meditations.
Oh,
so
nice.
Like if you want an actual structured thing with people, believe me, that I would say 95% of the people that are going to be going to the sunrise meditations have been up all night.
Yeah.
There might be that 5% that actually wakes up early and goes to it, but everyone else is going to be in the same boat as you. So
yeah,
it should be cool.
I think that this period of time, to me, and the reason I asked that question, it's a very specific and very unique period of time of like Bonnaroo experiences. So Friday, Saturday night, after the majority of the late night music stops, after the main act stops, I think it's a lot of fun. You tend to see, because these shows go all out, right? There tends to be confetti, balloons. People are bringing, any number of glow sticks sometimes, which are technically you're not allowed to, by the way, just throwing that in there. But and so it's it's just this huge gigantic party. I mean, every tent has like loud music, people just going, and so when that starts to end, you see all these people walking around. There's people who are also doing what Jared was saying, where they're looking for their friends, or they're trying to just meet up, or they're just also walking around looking at whatever. And it's a cool time where you look around, like the whole field is different. It was what was just this transformed party atmosphere, which is completely different from what it was during the day, is now also this different, quieter thing. But of course, you find these pockets of activity. Like there's Calliope just raging over there and shooting fireballs into the sky. And I guess there's this
not hyperbole people that
it's literally what
actually
happens. Yeah, they literally have giant fireballs that just blast and beat with the music. It's pretty good. So I like that period of time. It's not always necessarily the most eventful. It usually is the recovery, chill out, walk around, drink some water, whatever
There's
time.
a certain groundedness to it, though. It's like, after you're like, done with all this stuff, but you're still feeling like, connected to everybody or something.
That festival itself takes time to get rolling, like to really get the most out of everyone, and everybody's really into it. Like, and kind of by Friday night and all of Saturday, everything is in full swing. So anytime anyone was like going to be like waiting for a particular night to like really go hard, like Friday night or Saturday night, it's usually Saturday night, I feel like. And so you just get full like costumes, like all kinds of stuff going on. But so like the festival is like in full swing by Saturday night. And so just being out amongst it is good. Yeah.
I will say that, I think Friday night is when
at the end of Friday night, at this moment that we're talking about, except for 24 hours earlier where we're actually at, but like, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 3:30 a.m., whatever you want to say, Friday night is when I feel like it's set in, because like you've had a whole night of people kind of building into it. You've had Thursday night, which people have gotten into, Friday, which is usually a party and big headliners and people get into it. But then there's late night, and then after that, it's kind of like you sit down and you're like, okay, now we're cooking. Because then Saturday is pretty much like you were saying, all day Saturday to me is usually people are in the mood, people are feeling it, people are more and ready to just have fun. And then of course, Saturday night, it's just from the get-go, I think people tend to be into it. So I think it's a good time, and the late night is kind of reflective too. I mean, it sounds whatever, but it's nice to just sit in a field surrounded by like confetti and other people just sitting around in a field tired and just drinking water and hanging out with your friends and chatting. It's fun.
And
meeting new people then is the best time too, because you never know who you're going to talk to.
Quick warning, like, let us use our 30 plus years of experience to warn you. Again, this is why, and we talked about it in part 1 a lot, but taking care of yourself is very important, because you do not want to miss Saturday night. Like, you don't want to be that person that has just like pushed yourself to where you're just exhausted, and because I've definitely just been like so exhausted and been like, oh man, I'm just gonna take a quick hour or so to take a nap and just get recharged. 5-6 hours later, I'm waking up. It's like 4 a.m. on Saturday, and I'm like, shit, I just missed everything, So it's definitely happened to me before. And so
last year we didn't go very late.
This is one reason why taking care of yourself is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
if you're like the type of person that's not going to try to stay up late, like, then don't, just don't bother with that, and have fun at the earlier sets that you want to. But if you can't do everything. Like, you can't be at every show. You really have to like be kind of strategic about when you want to be able to go hard, because you're not going to be doing it at 12:30, 1 p.m. and at 4:30 a.m.
Well,
unless you're you could be if you're really strategic about a nap, but
you'd have to be. I mean, but not
it's
like
really hard. Yeah, that's hard. So think about what you want to do.
So, are we ready for our Sunday? Yeah,
the wind down day.
Yeah,
the day I tend to get the sun crazies is always Sunday.
Everyone tends to drink more on this day too. Like, alcohol tends to it's like the drunk day.
I agree. It's like people don't want to
be the drunk day.
Like, if you're a person who's going to be doing something else, like psychedelics or whatever it is that allegedly occurs at music festivals.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly occurs. But, but really, like, again, people are, most people want to get out really early on Monday. Some people leave Sunday night. So there is people feel like, well, if you're drunk, you just get a good buzz, and it lasts only as long as having a good buzz lasts, and you're fine. So
and Sunday, because of that, I normally break my rule and try and go to a couple of early shows, because because just until recently, everything shut down after the Sunday headliner. I mean, for the most part, there were still other.
Oh no, yeah, but I mean, pretty much it just was done.
Yeah, but
except
now I think they've really started to
parties,
offer some stuff on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. But I'm still kind of in that habit of kind of seeing the Sunday night headliner and just kind of going back to the campsite. And so because of that, I tend to go out a little earlier on Sunday, and that just so happens that Trampled by Turtles is playing at 2:00 on Sunday. So that would be a perfect show for me.
For sure, we're going to go see that. Yeah, they're so good.
See what?
Trampled by Turtles.
Oh, man. Hold on. I got something for you. Back up. All right, guys.
Back up.
Kikagaku Moyo, whatever, however you say it. It's the 12:30. Oh, man. It's like this. I think they're from, I'm pretty sure they're from Japan. I guess I could look this back up, but and it's this really psychedelic. It's not exactly rock in like the way that Tame Impala is or can be, but it's those same sort of super washed out sounds, very, very like loop oriented and very drawn out. There is singing and stuff. I think at least in some. I mean, I haven't listened to all of their albums, but it's really good. Kind of dreamy, very ethereal, a little bit slower. I don't know. I think
sounds good.
I think it's
they
gonna
are
be
from Japan. They're from Tokyo.
okay. That's what I thought. I listened to an album I think like twice through and so I haven't like super gotten into it, but I did really enjoy it. So I it's not something I could tell you I could track or anything, but I will definitely be there checking it out. So that's
It
12:30
sounds cool.
at that tent. Yeah, I think anybody who doesn't know who likes any of those words that I just said kind of at all, he should at least check out a song or two. But it's not something where it like I never felt like they had a super standout single where I was like, oh man, that is a great song. It was more of a general vibe throughout the whole album for whatever that kind of means to people. There's not like a, oh yeah, listen to this track and you'll get what I mean type vibe. So,
And yeah, for anybody that doesn't know Trampled by Turtles, it's kind of just bluegrass, kind of more of a more modern bluegrass.
Yeah, very upbeat.
Yeah, it's super upbeat. Always a really fun show. They've played Bonnaroo. I mean, I feel like they
A few
play
times,
almost
yeah.
every year I'm there.
yeah, we've seen them at other festivals too. So their thing is they all were in, I think, like punk and metal-ish bands, like more like post rock or not post rock, but like hardcore bands and stuff. As I mean, again, I don't really remember, but they all played in not bluegrass traditionalist bands, and then so I can't remember how it happened, but they ended up starting this thing where they all started playing these traditional bluegrass instruments, and most of them for the first time. It's not like any of them was like, oh yeah, I used to play the the banjo all the time, and it was like these new things for them, and it kind of it's a new take, but I think they've gotten a lot of praise from even the traditionalist bluegrass community for being it not being like excuse the word, like bastardization. Like it seems relatively
like they're real bluegrass, but also like incorporate
high
rock
energy.
and roll into
Yeah,
it.
it's a really good time. I mean, and as I'm sitting here talking about Sunday being your laid back day, we're at the same time being like, yeah, go see this punk bluegrass band. It's high energy. It's fun. But I mean, it really
absolutely.
is. Crack a couple beers, maybe drink a little whisk, go see Trampled by Turtles. It's a good time.
Exactly.
I think the thing about Sunday is while there tends to be a number of good artists to see, it's not maybe as intense, even though like the quality of artists can be really good. So that's why you can go out early because you can maybe sleep during the middle of the day, or maybe you don't really care about going super hard at fish, so maybe you'll be there, but you're not planning on being sober. You can be fucking drunk by the time you're
It's also good.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'm going to skip that far ahead, but I'm saying Sunday is a very free day. It's a very cool day to do.
Quick sidebar. Like Sunday, I tend to have Sunday traditions. It's one of the only days that I do specific things on Sunday. But the main one just being, because first off, that Sunday is normally Father's Day. So that's normally how that works. So calling my dad is normally part of that. But also meeting up with kind of like doing the biggest meetup I can possibly do of all of my friends. I try and do Sunday night. I don't know. It's just kind of a fun thing. I tend to have these weird Sunday traditions, but like that's getting everybody together because it's, your last chance to see the Bonnaroo family. So.
Yeah, no, that's legit. I definitely think that's a thing.
I always tend to not stay at one thing for very long. Like I feel like during the day, especially, I'm just always walking around, checking out one thing, going to another thing for a few minutes, going to, it's like, and sometimes you'll find bands that you never heard of, or you never heard anything about them, but like have a really good time at it. But you just, by Sunday, you feel a little bit freer to do that. You're not so panicked to see, oh, well, I've got to see the whole set of such and such. You're just like, oh, let me go check out this. I'll just flow over here. It just, you do just feel.
And I also do my big meal on Sunday if I'm really looking for some food that I really want to try. But, Friday and Saturday, I tend to not eat very heavy because I'm going to be out a lot. Sunday is the day that I'm like, all right. And, obviously it's your last chance. So I usually go out, get a big Sunday meal.
Last chance to get whatever food truck you've been looking at.
Sunday is like the tie-up day. Just go ahead and get everything done that you might want to do because it's
go on the Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel is a big one on Sunday, which, by the way, if anybody does want to go on the Ferris wheel, it gets pretty round-the-clock busy after Thursday. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to be slick and go at 5 a.m. because there's not going to be anybody there. You would be wrong. always, I mean, of course it's going to be less. And I mean, at 5 a.m., sure, maybe, but like, are you really going to be one on the Ferris wheel? I mean, maybe you do. And if you do, I guess that is the time, but that's so it is a cool thing to do though. I do like trying to go on the Ferris wheel, but Sunday is really busy for the Ferris wheel. So
yeah, because everyone's having that thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So after Triple by Turtles, I would probably check out. I mean, this is kind of a conflict for me with the Brandy Carlisle, Hobo Johnson and the Lovemakers, and the Lemon Twigs and Princess, like all at once, which is
I don't know any of these things that you're saying. So
Really?
Take it away,
you
Dark
take
Dome,
that, yeah.
'cause we don't know anything.
I mean, Brandy Carlisle, I guess
Yeah, so Brandy Carlisle, I just won a fucking Grammy or something, right? Like I don't know. Maybe I could be completely crazy, but she is
the most nominated.
Yeah,
female.
she did. She was the
She's
third
very
most
talented.
nominated artist at the Grammy Awards.
So I've seen her in the past cold, and I didn't cold as in like I didn't know who she was walking in, which can be both good and bad depending on And she definitely has a super strong vibe. It's like sort of I don't know. It's like just rock. I don't want to say it's like 90s throwback, but it's this sort of like power. It's like pop rock. I mean, I really don't know how to describe it properly without just throwing out a bunch of. But it's very good. It's very high energy, very singer-songwritery, and she's just super good at like crowd interaction. Like the entire crowd was super into it by the end of it and was singing along. And because she would set up like she would like set up a sing along instead of just like hoping people know the lyrics. She'd like be coaching people and. I mean, it's a really good time. So that's probably like what I think would be the most entertaining show, just because I think she's really it's a good show person, Hobo Johnson and the Lovemakers is harder to describe because they did a Tiny Desk, which is the only reason that I know them, and it's this sort of spoken word, sort of lo-fi punkish thing. That's I don't know. I really couldn't do it justice, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go watch the Tiny Desk because I'm not even going to try. And then Princess is like Maya Rudolph and somebody else, I believe, covering Prince.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Maya Rudolph and Gretchen Lieberum. And
Oh,
it's
that
Prince
was fun.
Prince cover band. And yeah, it's going to be fucking great. So
That sounds really fun.
Although this Lemon Twigs, I looked them up, and that sounds like something I could maybe do.
yeah, Lemon Twigs is also good. So it's that sort of
I like
stuff
the
that
name
Mike
Lemon
shared, where it's
Twigs.
that sort of.
I'll tell you something right now. I'm not going to Walk the Moon. Nope, not going to be
No.
there. You guys can.
What's
No,
the
I mean,
deal? Hold
without
on.
me.
What's the deal with Lemon Twigs?
So
they're
they're the
the
sort of.
Walk the Moon.
They are, yeah.
They're probably better than Walk the Moon.
Yeah, but what kind of music?
And what's
are
up
they?
What's up with Walk the Moon?
But what
being
kind of
all
music
capital?
is it?
So it's sort of
I feel like your name needs to be in all capital.
So Lemon Twigs, though, Jess, is this sort of throwback. It's more retro rock stuff, but it's I don't know what it's like. Maybe early. It's kind of doing like the Zeppelin revival sort of. So that's not doing it a proper description, but it's all kind of like young, high energy, kind of cool, edgy, whatever rock. It's like the rock in its current state. I don't know.
Here you go. Wildly electrical music settings ranging from spot-on throwback rockers to traditional Broadway-style production numbers.
Yeah,
Sounds like a fun time.
it's good. I mean, I just butchered describing them because I really, again, it's not something I listen to.
You did well, Dark Dome. You did well.
But yeah, so I think that block of time is pretty good. I mean,
I'll
it's
probably
not.
be at Brandy Carlisle for most of that, if I'm being honest. But I might check out that Princess. That sounds
I think Which Stage was made perfectly for Walk the Moon. Because it's the worst stage for the worst band. So
Whoa, he's really hating on them.
Brutal. So the Wood Brothers, by the way, if anybody's interested in, I haven't listened to any.
I would rather see those guys. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's I think I've looked it up. It's so it's this sort of jazz sort of folk bluegrass sort of thing. I don't know about the Wood Brothers. I guess it's because Martin Medeski and Wood, and it's like the Wood Brothers are this sort of, they've been at Bonnaroo a lot of different times in different forms with different musicians and different ones of them. And so that'll be cool. It's like very jammy, very kind of high energy.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't picked up on it, there's a general Sunday vibe as far as the music acts go. I personally find that a lot of folk, bluegrass, just kind of guitar style work is normally saved for Sunday. So
yeah, I mean, there's some of that all the time, but yeah, it is a little bit heavier on Sunday. It's more chill vibes going on. Yeah. So
I know, and I only say that because we're using a lot of the same words to describe these bands, and it's on purpose, like it's intentional.
I would say this is a good word to describe them, is country folk, sort of, has this sort of throwback. That's how Bonnaroo, or at least their description, describes the Wood Brothers. And I think that's applicable to a lot of what we talk about, because they tend to go stuff like the Lumineers. I'm not saying the Wood Brothers and Lumineers are similar, but you can see these sort of, crossroads between the two, or like, anyway. So,
but don't worry, Electro Kids, the other stage will still have...
Oh, yeah, they're just banging, like, I mean, Millennium, I mean, those are all big acts.
People are panicking. They're like, oh my God, what? It's all just guitar? No. Still the other stages.
I mean, the Lumineers, I think, would be fun.
Yeah, I'll go to that.
Lumineers, I like them.
But
they have lately on Sundays.
I am not going to fucking Cardi B, dog.
Hold on. They have, so this spot with Walk the Moon, they have been putting like one of these like kind of generic alternative rock bands there. Like they had like Capital Cities. They
like Capital Cities.
Oh, I don't like that either. It's about as bad as Walk the Moon to me. But yeah, it's like they've been putting like a mainstream like alternative rock like something that comes on the radio or whatever on these Sunday like which stage, like it's becoming like a recurring theme. I'm just realizing. But anyways, so Lil Dicky, that's another funny one. That should be fun. I'm sure that's a good show. I guess, I don't know. Lumineers, they're good. Also on the radio right now still.
I'm probably going to take a break during this point of time. I'm just not going to be at any of these. I mean, I might go check out some of the Lumineers. It's probably what I'll do. Like I'll go probably like some combination of, I'll probably end at Brandy Carlisle, maybe take a little bit of a break right then, and then go see the last half of the Lumineers, and then like hang out from there. Cause like, I don't really care too much about like Lil Dicky and whatever.
So at 7:30, I will be making money moves to the witch stage for my girl Cardi B.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go.
Hey, Dark Dome, if you didn't know, she doesn't dance now. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
She made money moves.
Oh God.
So don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves. Say I don't gotta dance. I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch. I make bloody moves.
I guess I should mention Mac DeMarco. Like I'm not personally into him, but
you thought Mac DeMarco was dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Mac Miller. He was thinking they have the same.
Oh,
Mac.
Yeah, they have their Macs. Return of the Mac.
I know a lot of people really like Mac DeMarco.
I hate Mac DeMarco.
But I have never personally really understood the.
No, he's a good guitar player. He's slick. I don't know what to call him. He's very he is. He's got this crazy way of playing.
Comment I've ever. He's slick.
No, but he's it's hard to describe. I really have never been able to get into him. It's this weird, dreamy, kind of goofy thing, but he is a really good guitar player. I mean, I don't think all of his songs showcase that, and he's really fun. Like I've watched a lot of his live shows, just trying to get into him, and he seems like there's a lot of crowd participation, a lot of people getting on stage, and like I don't know, there was a video that went around or whatever a couple months back where somebody gets on stage and says he can play his guitar part to a song, and so he lets him, and then, of course it goes down pretty well. I mean, I don't know, it seems like a fun show, but I've never been able to get into him.
Yeah,
and this King Princess
should be interesting.
Looks like some like maybe similar to Tosh Sultana, where it's just a single person playing multiple instruments, self-produced. I don't know what the actual music sounds like, but it sounds like it's that kind of one-man band type thing, which could be interesting if you're into that.
One woman band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sorry, all you women out there. You're not allowed to have a one-member band because you have no member. Anyways, getting on with things. What is this? Illenium
Falcon. I don't know.
Illenium. I actually did just listen to like 2 or 3 songs, and I liked it. I mean, it's perfect for the other stage.
And for like, we're not huge EDM people, but like we can appreciate it, and I like going to live shows. And I will say I've at least like heard of Illenium and AC Slater on this Sunday, so.
And AC Slater has
I've heard of them
silent
at all,
disco
like, maybe
set
that means
earlier as well.
What?
AC Slater also has a large silent disco set. It's like on Saturdays, so if you're into that, there's multiple opportunities to.
That's another good thing to do on Sunday. By the way, it's go to the silent disco if you haven't. There's better times to go, but
again, like the Ferris wheel, everyone kind of panics into doing it. But now that it's so big, you can get in there easy. So
if you don't know what a silent disco is, by the way, it's sometimes there's 2 DJs. I don't know if there always is, but at least one DJ and playing only through people's headphones, and then give them out to you as you get into the crowd. And it's a lot of fun.
It's fun.
It's really cool.
I love silent disco.
And then the festival closes with 4 hours of Fish, or 3.5. Yeah.
I'm so into this. I don't even know why.
I mean,
as we've discussed before, we're all pretty ambivalent about Fish, but I mean, why not? I don't know.
How many hours of Fish are in this Bonnaroo? Because they play on Friday as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's 2 hours. So we're gonna get like nearly 6 hours of Fish this week.
For the Fish fans, that's not nearly enough.
I mean,
they could just do it the whole time listening only to Fish.
Yeah.
This is totally new this year, that there's an actual band or like an actual thing going on after.
That's great.
This is totally new. First time that this has been done.
Justin Nice.
Or playing, NYC or something. However you see it.
Justin Nietzsche.
At this new place called We're in the Woods.
But that's not very, very telling. It's not in Bonnaroo though, so.
Right.
But it is the first
like
thing.
A Bonnaroo.
Yeah, it's the first thing billed after. There's always been stuff going on, but this is the first Bonnaroo like official on the schedule, sponsored like event thing. Aside from maybe these like tonalism things, which I know they didn't do tonalism before, but this is like the first.
They might have had some small party things going on.
Yeah.
For there just to be a chunk 12 to 4 on Sunday night,
which is pretty wild, right?
That's kind of wild. Yeah, that's new.
Because that means you can just straight up go hard all Sunday night now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted, like, I don't recommend that. I mean, I don't not recommend it, I guess, if you'd like this guy, but you could.
I've done that. Monday comes around and it's a rough day, but you can do it.
Yeah, Sunday night is always really depressing
for
me. So having something to go to is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe this Justin Nietzsche will be good.
He looks like a nice young man. His picture here in the Bonnaroo website, he looks Danish or something.
Is he European? I was about to say, is he European? Is that why it's Nietzsche?
It's not actually. For anyone listening, we know that that's not it.
But we don't know that it's not. Okay, I don't know.
So yeah, guys, that about wraps up our music coverage. We do apologize if we did not mention any of your favorite bands. Please let us know. We will all for it. And if you guys would be interested in us doing a podcast from Bonnaroo, that's something that we could possibly look into. So let us know.
Oh yeah, that could be fun.
We might try and figure something out there. And then I do want to finish this episode up here with some classic Bonnaroo hot takes.
Ooh, hot takes.
Ooh.
Hot takes. Unless anybody has anything else they wanted to say about just the general music lineup or general feelings or wrap-up things or anything you guys wanted to mention before we kind of move on to closing it out.
Well, I will say that I have less bands this year than I'm excited to see than usual. So sorry if we seem ignorant or whatever. We don't know a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true.
But somehow I'm still super excited about it. Like like I know that there's gonna be good music there, and it's all about discovering new things. You know, just try it out, walk around, see what there is, hear what your friends are going to or whatever. So yeah, don't let it get you down if you don't know a ton of music, because neither do we. But we're still totally psyched about Bonnaroo. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that I think what we would three ideally choose for a Bonnaroo lineup would probably not be this necessarily. I mean, as far as genres and stuff, I mean, we lean towards other stuff. But yeah, I agree. I'm equally as excited. I think that it is noticeable that we weren't like taking tons of deep cuts out of like, oh man, and I love this song so much from this band, and I'm so psyched for this set. But there was some of that. But like, I think we also talked about how, oh, we're going to this because it's hyped up and it's talked about. And that's kind of how I try to approach it. So, if you don't know something, but you know that they're obviously billing it to be a big thing, just check it out, because you never know. Like, why not? You paid money to be there. Like, what else are you going to do?
Right.
I mean,
and just to kind of echo what everybody else was saying, is finding new stuff is really fun. And like, if you're not familiar with the lineup, this type of lineup can help you kind of stretch your legs, find some new stuff. And secondly, on that, like, this is why finding people to hang out with or meeting new people is a really fun time, because you might not want to go to a show, but people that you meet are going. Mm-hmm. So, they invite you along, and having people that are into the music and into the show and can kind of tell you a little bit about it is a great way for you to get integrated into it. So it's like, oh, I don't really know this, but my friends are going. I know I'm going to have a good time with them, so I'll just go with them to something new. Mm-hmm. So like, that's another good reason for kind of meeting new people or finding your Bonnaroo family there.
And also just like talk to people on food lines or whatever, line for the Ferris wheel, see what they're excited about that day. Maybe that's your new favorite band. You never know.
I've definitely found new stuff that I really liked and just had heard from Bonnaroo. So it does happen.
And also, if anyone knows of any like indie pop bands that are playing, I don't know them. And so tell me, please. Like electronic type indie pop is what I'm looking for.
Right,
and
like
so far, like along the lines of Foster the People, Mike Snow, that type of shit. I don't see anything of Montreal, nothing like that. And this is my type of music, so if somebody knows it, please tell me who they are. Thank you.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, all right, I'm good. Let's do some glow tape here.
Let's go. All right, so let's start with this easy one. Just your favorite year.
It's not easy.
I'm just going to say off the cuff 2013, because I don't even remember what was playing, but I'm just going to say it. So I'm going to go with. I have to look up what
that was the year that Jared and I got together.
2013?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
No, it's really impossible to say, because there's every year, but
it's hard to say because there's different things that I love about them. Like, I've had really good times just music wise, like really packed schedules where I loved every, like there was always something that I loved that I was going to see. There's been times, like different times with friends that are really fun. I did have one year where I was just like totally feeling myself, feeling like a goddess and just totally comfortable with myself. So that was cool. So yeah, I don't know. It's like, I guess that year the Bear was really fun because we had such a big group and we were really into the animal theme.
Was that 2016?
2015.
Oh, 2015. Yeah, that was going to be mine, was 2015, I believe.
And so, yeah, just introducing some of our friends from DC to Bonnaroo in general, them getting the feel of it, loving it. That was really fun. Getting different groups of friends together and having them meet. We did definitely go biggest for the animal theme that year too. We had really everything bears. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But
Oh man, I can't say. I mean, maybe 2013 is the Party McCartney year, and Tom Petty. I mean, come on, like.
Well,
That
how about this to make it a little
national-
easier? Give you what is your favorite like headlining act you ever went to?
probably Arcade Fire.
Probably Radiohead, honestly, or probably Radiohead.
I would go with.
I mean, Radiohead.
Jackie White was my favorite. Jack White.
Oh god, that Jack White show was incredible. Yeah, I mean, Radiohead is probably. Oh gosh, I don't know. So as a general band, I like Radiohead more than Arcade Fire. Like it's like number one, in Arcade Fire is like 2 or 3. But that show on that night at Bonnaroo where just everyone was singing along, woo!
Yeah.
It gives me goosies just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It
And
was
also
so
like
good.
a weird honorable
I
mention
mean-
that I wouldn't have thought before, but now Pearl Jam was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
Pearl Jam was really good.
That was
Oh
good.
man.
I can't believe you guys. I remember going into that. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be a hot take, but these guys were not super hype about. I mean, Jared maybe more so, but I remember
I would
feeling
agree.
like I was trying to convince you, or like I was like, be assured, no, it'll be good. Like I've never seen them, but like it's it's going to be good. And I think it was even better than I expected.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
can't
it was
imagine
really
somebody
good.
who
Yeah.
wasn't like
I
prepared.
like kept forgetting that they were even playing that year. Like when I was telling people who was playing, it was like 15th down on my list.
God.
You know?
I take Pearl
And
Jam.
it was really good. Yeah.
And the last one that I'll mention before I move on was I remember seeing I can't believe I can't think of LCD Sound System playing and telling myself like a show could not get better than this.
I remember feeling that.
saying this. I was like, man, there's nothing that could be better than this right now.
Yeah.
I also
I
told
agree.
myself that same thing during the Flaming Lips when I saw them the first time.
Honestly, I may have to revise
I was like, self, remember this. This is the best show you've ever been to.
Yeah.
And I think I've like since maybe surpassed that, but like at the time there was nothing that I
agree. Yeah.
And
I'm just LCD Sound System show was definitely my runner-up. I would
Oh
say
my God.
Pearl Jam was like it was incredible, but I think the LCD show, I definitely actually had that thought as well. Like that same thought was like, okay, this it could not possibly be any better in my mind at the time. Like, because it was just like a perfect scenario, like the perfect setting. I was in a good mood. Like I was, it was a perfect time, and the show was just also, and I'm also just happened to be a really big fan. So just all at once, it was kind of
just the reason.
Also, that Red Hot Chili Peppers show I really liked too.
All right.
Sorry, I had to mention that one. I love it.
Glow takes.
So, okay, so got those. Here's one that's kind of fun. What's the biggest change in Bonnaroo from when you started going to when you are now that you are a fan of? Like
Permanent
what
bathrooms.
changed? Yeah. The permanent bathrooms is definitely
100% the permanent bathrooms. Come on.
Yeah. And the amount of service that they provide to the other bathrooms too. Because I mean, I remember like it literally was like they stocked them once and then like left them alone, like for the rest of the
I am going to say, since just in the theme of changing it up a little bit, just the general crowd demographics seem to have changed a lot.
Yeah.
To where it seemed that there was a specific crowd when I first started. And I mean, you guys have more experience than I do, so you could maybe speak to this more than I do or can. But since then, it's kind of opened up to where it's just kind of there's not a specific crowd that I could put
Less
like
hippies.
a particular pin on, point on. It's often dependent on who's playing. So I think we mentioned it before, but like there is a crowd that follows Fish that are going to be there, but there's also going to be people that are there to see Cardi B, and so like the general demographics and mix the crowd I've seen change a whole lot, and I think that's for the better. The more diversity and the more kind of people we can get in there, the better. That would be mine.
Yeah, there's definitely less hippies, but yeah, it almost used to feel like if you were somebody that was just into like indie rock or whatever, it was like, what the hell are you doing here? Like this is this is for jam bands or whatever.
Well,
and now
yeah.
there's nothing like that. I mean, and I went in 2005, like, and it was kind of like that. I mean, but there was a lot of older people. There still is a lot of older people, and older hippies still go.
Yeah, 2005, by the way, is Widespread Panic, Dave Matthews, Trey Anastasia Band, Allman Brothers, Jack Johnson, Black Crowes, Alison Krauss, like Modest Mouse, Bob Weir. Like, that's your big stuff. Like, that's your top bill.
Yeah.
Right there.
But
So.
it was almost, I mean, but that's the thing with hippies, they don't judge you. So it actually, you know, who cares? But yeah, it has just gotten more and more diverse, and perhaps younger every year, because
I think we've hit an average, but yeah, it's gotten younger until recently. I think we've now hit like it's like 23, I think, is what I would, maybe 24. Yeah, maybe it skews older when you do an actual average, because there are a lot of older people who go. But when you go, what would the appropriate mathematical term be? Median age, like, is pretty young. Yeah.
But it's not as young as a lot of other festivals. So that's good.
All right. So here's another fun one. How do you handle music conflicts? Like, if you got two people playing at the same time, what do you normally do? Just general strategies.
It depends on the thing, but usually I try to split it.
You're a split person. I'm usually a pick one and go with it.
I must say I'm going to split, and then I just stay at a show. That's how I handle it. I just always say I'm going to leave, so I feel good about it, and then I just never do.
It really depends on the importance of the thing. Like, if it's, sometimes I do what Cody's saying, and I'm like, oh yeah, remember when I was going to go to this? You know, I'm like, I couldn't possibly have torn myself away from the thing, but I have successfully split it sometimes for, like,
I mean, it feels
really
good.
Big ones, you know.
I would caution against splitting too much, though, for any newbies. It seems
it's
like
hard.
Bang for my buck, and that's how I viewed it for the first several years, when I was like, okay, because I used to go out like all day, and I would usually crash, admittedly, for some reason during the headliners, and I would just miss the headliners, and then I would go out all night, and that was kind of how I did it. And I always split everything, because I would, you know, at the end of the festival, I'd look at it like, I saw, 42 bands, like, and it was just, but then, I don't know, staying at a show makes it more memorable. You get the whole feel. You remember it as a whole event rather than a series of a couple songs. Because a good show it's a whole story, right? It has a beginning and it has an end, and there's all the middle parts matter. So I like to stay usually, but sometimes conflicts dictate that you gotta maybe peel yourself away when you think the best has passed, and then go see what you can of something else.
Yeah,
and sometimes it'll stack up in a way where it's like, if one's like 15 minutes before, and then you see the beginning of that one, and then it's like worth it to peel yourself away and catch the end of another one. Like, I've done it like really good a couple times where I was like, damn, I can't believe I saw all those songs for those. Like, that worked out perfectly.
Yeah. I'm going to pick a perfect, I know this is supposed to be quick takes, but a quick story of like the Jack White into Nick Cave for me was a cool move, but I stayed to the end of Jack White, even though there was a conflict, and that was like, Nick Cave was like a big thing that I wanted to go see. And I think it worked out. Like, I did miss like the majority of the Nick Cave show, but you get to see the end. You get to kind of stay and ride the wave of like everybody being into it. And I got to see all of Jack White, which was also a really big show. So I think like splitting like that, but I erred on the side of seeing the full Jack White show rather than seeing the full Nick Cave show, I guess. But I mean, splitting shows can work. It depends on, I guess, how you feel.
Yeah. I usually do the opposite. I'll just pick one and go with it. I mean, in the rare case that I pick one and I'm like, all right, this is just bad. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. I'll go check out the other one, but normally I'm like, I'm just going to go to this, and then I'll catch these other people next time. Yeah, that Jack White show, man. I remember after that thing was done, I just literally sat down on the ground and was like,
that's 2014, by the way.
I gotta gather myself for a second. I just gotta sit down. I know we have places to go, but I just need to sit down for a second. All right, so two more that I have here. Your biggest Bonnaroo learning moment. So this could be like a regret or something that you did that you were like, I will never make that mistake again. But yeah, just your biggest kind of learning moment type situation. And if nobody's ready, I can start this off.
Oh, wow. Yeah, start us off.
Yeah, so I think I kind of mentioned these two things earlier in the cast, but I will just go ahead and say it. The first one was trying to break a pair of Chacos in at Bonnaroo might have been the worst thing I ever chose to do. Like, because my feet were so miserable. Like, they were so bad because, like, not only were the arches of my feet just in constant pain, but like it was really, really dusty that year. And so the straps I hadn't got to break in yet. And so they were really stiff anyways. And so just getting coated with dirt made them even stiffer. So like they were starting to cut circulation off. And I was like, oh man, this is so miserable right now. And then, the close second is just my first ever year. On Saturday, I just went wild. Like, I was just like, I had like drank a 6-pack by like 2 p.m. I mean, and just, by that night at like 10 or 11, I was just in pain, just in serious pain. And it's like, that's why you don't do that. That's why you pace yourself. So those would probably be my biggest learning moments.
Are you ready, Jess, or would you like me to go?
Okay, so I'm not going to go into the specifics of the rest of this night, but if you're going to be on Sunday night with some people and some people are leaving and some people are staying, make sure that the people that are staying have the adequate number of seats in a car and stuff, because we did this one year and it was the craziest thing. We were like, okay, like we had met up with a couple of our friends. One of our friends could only go on Sunday, so she came. She was with a friend. We hung out for a while. Her friend was going to leave, took a car. So we've gained a new person. Then another one of our people that we'd come with left, took his car. So now we'd gained a person and lost a car and still had an entire campsite to pack. And it was like a thing where we had 4 or 5 people that were supposed to be in a one car and all of our camp gear, like canopy, tents, like every single thing. So we were like, oh, what are we going to do about this? Like we really fucked this up. And we literally just like, okay, bye, see ya. Like it was no big deal. And then we realized, and there was really nothing for us to do. We had to call a friend from Nashville to come drive all the way there, which like, it's not just in Nashville. It's like, it's its own thing. Like it's still a drive from Nashville.
Yeah, for sure.
She had to like get in, talk to the people, like convince them that she was just there to take us. We had to wait for her. Like it was a whole thing. And it was just so stupid that no one thought of it. Like it literally wasn't even a thing that crossed through our head until it was way too late. So just be mindful of car riding situations if you're mixing friends.
All right. No, I would say
among other things that night, but I'm not going to go into that here. Anyway,
no drama. No, I would say just kind of going at whatever pace that you're feeling. If you're wanting to, and I would say err on the side of maybe exploring and having a little bit more fun, but definitely, don't go too hard. Don't overwork yourself, which of course applies to all kinds of things with drinking water and whatever. But, that includes stuff like bringing a hammock with you, like one that you can string up between, 2 posts or something. There's a lot of that goes on at Bonnaroo, and, they don't mind. There's all kinds of little structures and trees and things you can. So, and you just kind of maybe hanging out during part of the day, like you're not seeing shows, but you don't have to be in your campsite. So just kind of explore, but I don't know exactly how to word that. Just kind of relax, but don't just relax,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you not going to give us a specific embarrassing story?
No, I don't mean, do I need an embarrassing story? Is that the question? Or I got to go some sort of
like a specific learning moment you had?
Oh, like
how about that time that you missed?
What, rudimental?
Rudimental.
Because you were just passed out.
Oh yeah, that was. I guess that is the summation of the thing, though. I guess it's that. I did not do those things. I did not drink enough water.
I did not get enough sleep, and Rudimental was a band that I really had hyped up and
He'd
really
been hyping us for it for like the whole year.
Yeah, so I was very, very, very about it, and yeah, I fell asleep hours before the show. And it wasn't like I fell asleep like, oh, Cody's going down. Like I fell asleep at like noon. The show was at like 7 or something. I don't know.
It was at like 3 or 4, I think.
Because we got back to the campsite and you were still fast.
I was. But that's what you don't do. Like I did not do all the things that we have earlier advised people do.
Should we send somebody in there to wake him up? He's gonna die in there.
I think Gracie helped us with that.
No,
she
I was
cried
fine.
And she was like, "He's fine. Just leave him."
No, I was fine. It wasn't like that. It was like legitimately I had just I think the most of it is I just hadn't been able to sleep, because you do get yourself in these situations sometimes where you stay up very late and you think like, well, I'll just sleep until I want to go to a show, but then it gets too hot, or you just get yourself up because people are around.
But he wasn't there a moment. I thought we were going to get the story where it was something where you had a towel, but you were just like out there freezing to death.
That's something he does like every year, right?
Yeah, I guess I chose such a weak moment. I have so many learning moments. Yeah, I almost froze to death out in the center room. I mean, we can go forever on moments that I almost perished inside of Bonnaroo. I mean.
That story, we were just out there freezing to death, is probably one of my favorites.
Oh, I mean, I know we've already done this, but I do have another one for like a combination of like basically what Cody just said of taking care of yourself. Like I went so hard one year that I made myself so sick. Like I was literally had like the worst cold of my life. On Sunday night, Tom Petty was playing. This was 2013. This is the year that Jared and I ran into each other twice at Bonnaroo, but didn't know we were going to be like a couple later that year. Anyways, but yeah, I literally pushed myself to the very max that year, and it was like on Sunday night, I remember, Tom Petty, I love Tom Petty, and I was standing there, I was shivering, like actively shivering, like my whole body was just like shaking. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I had little people like stabbing me in the throat. I literally couldn't breathe through my mouth hardly. Like it was awful. And so I ended up leaving Tom Petty, which is a terrible shame. Yeah. I mean, I stayed for like probably more than half of it, but then I left and ended up falling asleep. It was pouring down rain. I was so passed out that the rain got all into my tent, soaked all of my stuff, like my whole purse and everything was soaked, and I just didn't even know because I was that like dead. Like it was like probably dangerous how much I pushed myself. So really listen to what we're saying here. Like don't do that to yourself. It's not fun, not worth it.
All right, and the last one here I got for you, and it's another kind of reminiscent one, but one of your most cherished Rue moments. Just because I know that it can all hit you at one time sometimes, and you kind of just get these kind of grand moments of realization. I know those things have happened to me a couple times. But specifically, again, I'll answer since it's might need some time to think. One year it was, I believe it was Year of the Bear, 2015, I believe. And we were doing the thing where we gathered the whole group together. Everybody was there, and we were watching Mumford and Sons. And and they closed with just this ensemble of like Jim James came out there, Hozier came out on stage. I can't remember who else was there. Maybe like Ben Harper or somebody. I can't remember who exactly came out, but they sang A Little Help from My Friends. And like kind of each artist did a verse of it, and we just had everybody there. And there might have been a show after Mumford that was drawing a lot of the crowd, so a lot of us could just go right up there.
Yeah.
And like everybody, all my friends were there, like all the important people in my life, and they were playing. I'm tearing up a little bit now.
I know, I'm about to tear up.
Yeah, I know, but that's definitely
that
one
was
of my
so good.
favorites.
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, like
I remember
just the
looking
universe was
Yeah.
in
In
order
alignment.
for me.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was that's probably mine.
hmm I remember Susie and I looked at each other, and I was like, "This is why we come here."
Yeah. So,
No, I agree. That was cool. So I think of two moments predominantly. One is of me by myself, and which is not as interesting. I think of this moment at Radiohead of it was 2012, so that would have been like my third or fourth year, and I don't know. It was just like a cool moment because I think it was the first time I saw them, and if it wasn't 2012, it was whatever the year they played before that. That since 2009, but I think that was the first time. And it was like a really cool concert moment for me because I'd never seen him. It was like a longtime favorite. It was like kind of I was there with a lot of people that I, like you were saying, that I really knew and loved. But my real favorite moment, and the one that I think about the most, was actually probably LCD Sound System with like All My Friends, like that song. Because it was like, it was, kind of the same situation and all of us hanging out, and it was, there's this awesome night, and it was this just great set, and it was just a really cool scenario, and I think it kind of it was an image and like a moment that has really kind of stayed in my mind as being a very clear memory versus just oh yeah, you remember that time we saw LCD. I really remember like that, some of those moments is very clearly. So I would say probably that, like that show, and especially like the All My Friends song.
Mm-hmm. Mine, I have a few different ones, but I guess I'm just gonna pick this one because I used to always go to Bonnaroo with my best friend Anne, and so it was like at some point it like really switched, like our Bonnaroo ways kind of parted or whatever. Like she still would go sometimes, but we used to, like, for the first plenty of years we were always together. And I remember one year, I'm not sure even what year this was, but Bonnie Raitt was playing on Sunday, and we were just me and Anne were in the very back playing frisbee. I was barefoot. It was just like one of those things, like I was just so in it, It was just really really fun.
And I'll do another fun one just as a shout out, because it was kind of a less sappy one and more of a kind of a funnier one, is when it was the three of us were sitting there by the Ferris wheel and we met Joey.
Oh yeah.
And Joey just comes up and he somehow has 4 beers in his pocket. He's just like wearing regular shorts.
So Joey is, by the way, one of Jess's friends, just for
but just a friend of ours
yeah.
just like pops up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh yeah, here, you guys want a beer? Got a koozie? And he just like starts handing the stuff out. He had the sunglasses. And oh yeah, let's walk back to the tent. And we just like walked back with Joey. So that was another just kind of etched into my memory. It's just us sitting there and him just being like, "I got all these beers, man. You want a beer? I got kinds of them."
Yeah, we were like, he took a knee.
Bonnaroo
Remember, he sat down. He was kneeling.
He was kneeling.
It was great. We sat there for a long, a very comfortably long time, and the man never sat down.
He was just kneeling the whole time.
But these are the kind of moments that ends up being funny. Like, this is not necessarily anything grand, but it does stand out as it's just fun. Like, we're just out. It's these random scenarios. You're meeting random people. Like, that's kind of the whole point of it, right? Like, that's it's not so much about, I don't know. It's
so
fun.
many cherished room moments that we could go on forever, but I just thought
that was really funny.
But anyways, guys, well, if anybody else has anything to say, then I would speak now, forever hold your peace.
Oh, I've got one good, quick glow take here for you guys.
Go ahead.
But I've got one. So it's kind of a combined question. So your biggest at the time undercard miss, like a band that you wish that you had seen and they played it like when they were just starting, that you missed, and then maybe conversely a band that was really small at the time that you did see that's big now that you really like.
Start us off, because you might have something in mind. I might have.
All right, I do. I have one for a cool catch, like one that I felt like I've always is Cage the Elephant, because they played some years ago for the first time at like that tent at noon on, I think, like a Friday or Saturday. So it was a very not, big set, obviously. I mean, they put, but But all the more reason sometimes, by the way, guys, to check out early bands, in these days. I mean, I know we said we skip a lot of that, but it's a good reason to go. And it was just a cool show. Like, I think it just, it was obviously high energy. People were into it. It was definitely on the smaller side. Like, the tent was not really filled up even. But of course, now here they are, however many years later, and they're this huge thing, and seen them a couple other times at other festivals. And so that's kind of cool. Biggest miss is really hard to say. Like, I didn't go see any number of cool acts that I should have. And even when they were not small, like Kendrick, I did not go see in 2015 for some reason, which is just absurd. And he was a headliner. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So,
yeah, these are going to be mine. Mine is, I think the first year I went to maybe 2009, maybe? I don't know. I saw Alt J on a Thursday night, which was pretty good.
Yeah. That was
that
2012 or 13.
Yeah, or whenever that was. I can't remember when it was.
I'm with you. That was also a great get. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I saw Sleigh Bells right before, so that night was great. So
that was a good night.
Or then maybe Beats Antique were there too. I can't remember. It was just a bunch of good bands, like just back to back on a Thursday, which was really good. And then the year that the Black Keys played headliner, I missed that.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Did not go see the Black Keys, which and again, I think it's just a situation where I was like just couldn't. I think I was just like tired or something, and I was like, I just can't get up to go see this. And so yeah, I'll say I missed the Black Keys headlining, and Alt J is my other one.
I didn't go see My Morning Jacket like so many times because I know they played at Bonnaroo a few times when I was there, and I just didn't know who they were and just didn't go. And then like since seeing them live a few times, like they're fucking incredible. Like, what was I doing? You know what I mean? Like, what? Damn, like, so I feel silly for missing those. I can't think of any like small ones off the top of my head. I guess I did see that Alt J on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen a few other small ones that ended up being bigger. I just can't really, off the top of my head, I don't have any really great ones. So I'm just going to like leave that one out. Sorry. I don't know.
No, that's fine. All right. Yeah, that's all I got. That was my.
I can't leave. I feel lame to leave on my like non-answer.
In my first year, I saw the Strokes like Sunday at like 3 p.m. or something like that. And of course, it was fantastic. But I remember it was during the day on Sunday, and it was really hard for me to get up to go to it. But I did go to it, and I felt great about it.
I will say that Tosh Sultana, like, even though she's already been hyped for a while, last year it felt like you were seeing something that is only going to get bigger. Like, it felt like, even though, like, she'd been hyped now for, like, a last couple years or whatever, it still felt like you were going to feel, oh, remember when I saw her at Bonnaroo during the day, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she gave me that feeling like, okay, she's only still going up. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know.
All right. Well, guys. Yeah. So if you're not going to go to Bonnaroo, you should.
Yeah.
And we hope we see you there. We'll definitely be there. Check us out.
Check out anybody in butterfly gear.
So you're the
Wear your
butterfly
stuff.
So be looking for us. We have a totem that should hopefully be out. His name's San Juan.
Oh, you guys are bringing San Juan?
Well, we're gonna have to make one there.
It's gonna be work because I'm gonna have 2 days to make it because we're flying in. So it's gonna be a challenge, but I think we're
gonna do it.
So for the story of San Juan is we have in the past built elaborate totems out of a hula hoop and LED lights. So we won't get into that necessarily. But that's who San Juan is. He changes animal every year.
But his name's always San Juan.
His name's always San Juan.
Great. Just another quick sidebar before we go. Our totem, the way that we make our totems is you can actually see through them, so they don't block.
Oh yes, don't be an asshole.
So yeah, just keep in mind if you have a totem, there are people behind you that can't see. So
yeah.
On that note, guys.
Yeah.
Home 504 here, JT, Dark Dome. Thanks for joining us.
Bonnaroo!
Woo! Good to glow.